Hello and welcome to Infamous, the audio podcast. This is Brandon, or Mutilus on Discord.
This is Parker, go by One Who Parks on Discord.
This is Jeremy. Just Jeremy. Discord. Hashtag. You'll find me at just Jeremy. Something.
And this is Aaron. I go by Treffinwood.
Jeremy, if I start an OnlyFans called Just Jeremy and start sharing it around, are you going to be upset?
Well, first off, you're going to have to buy the name from me. You'll notice it's already taken.
Ooh.
And I wouldn't pay more than $1. You're going to see some shit you won't forget.
Okay. I don't think you understand how OnlyFans works, but that's just because it's a website and you don't understand how
That's
websites
true.
work. All right. I have some quick announcements. They're not going to be that quick. I'm going to really draw these out. So first of all, Parker,
Mhm.
I got some good news for you. You're
Go for
down
it.
to a nice even 1,520.
And counting.
Well
And counting.
done.
We're
Well
just
done.
ticking down every day.
Mm-hmm.
We are halfway through one of your bets. You bet that MODOK and Hulk were both going to be higher threat value than their original models. Hulk, spoilers, is more.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. Nailed it.
Yep. And then something that's been, we'll say, 120 episodes in the making. I've made the shirts. We got shirts
Yeah,
coming.
buddy.
And I am actually pretty happy with how they turned out. In the design, we hopefully the printers will not, destroy them, but I'm hopeful.
Cool.
You guys don't sound very excited.
What are you
Until
talking
we
about?
see him, like, I feel like it's going to be Zoolander when he looks at the tiny house or whatever, and he's like, what is this, for ants? Like, it's going to come
Yeah.
out like little doll fucking shirts.
Yeah. So soon we will have information about how you can order a shirt from Infamous and get it. And yeah, that's the plan. I think we're gonna sell them, right? That was the plan. I haven't
What do
made
you-
great
what do you
plans,
right,
but I
like-
made the shirts.
I was going to say, right, you're talking to us? Like, are we financing this somehow or something?
It's a P.O.
yeah,
box
I'm gonna-
that goes to Parker's school at his work,
Yeah,
and he'll
you
start
guys,
receiving
you
cash.
guys need to
No
send me
one-
your share.
Do you
for the
realize how,
shirts.
like, the look on the secretary's faces when boxes of Infamous t-shirts show up? I guess they just put them in the back with the others. There's just so
Parker,
many.
we
freaking
need you to
t-shirts.
misappropriate some funds like Brett Favre and get us some T-shirts.
No.
Your school pays for T-shirts all the time.
There's two ways to get fired. Money and morals. And I am not doing either.
All right, cool. All right, so Parker apparently values his job more than Infamous shirts, so I
Mhm.
guess I'll have to pay for them.
You selfish son of a bitch.
I know, right? Also, while I was at it, we're going to get some team jerseys made, so if you guys see us at a convention, we should have some cool new jerseys so we're easier to spot. All right, well that's all I had.
That's not nothing.
I'm-
That's awesome.
I'm easy to spot. I'll be on the 7th table.
Well, 7th place would be the 4th table.
Oh, yeah, so- Ooh,
There you go.
That's probably right.
Yeah.
About there.
Killing it. Well, wait, do you usually lose or win in the last round? Because you might be in a higher table and fall.
I tend to win the last round.
Oh, okay. So you just lose the 2 rounds up to final table.
Somewhere in there, yeah.
It's final in like it's the last table in the row.
Sure, okay, if you
Yeah.
say so. Whatever 7th and 6th place is, that's where I've been landing recently.
All right, Parker. What's next?
News.
Hey,
So we got some good news today. Some good news. We have first up, Emma Frost and Psylocke in their character pack. They got some cards, yo. Because you all asked for it. Another copy of Grievous Wounds. Finally.
Fuck
I've been
yeah.
waiting.
The
Is
other
this the
one wore
fourth?
out,
Is this the
like the
fourth
print.
copy? Maybe it's just the third copy of Grievous Wounds. I think it's the third.
It's at least the 3rd. Yeah,
Yeah.
it might be the 4th.
It's a really key card that everybody's collection is sorely missing. I'm glad
Yeah.
that we now have Grievous Wounds. In other news, we found out that Psylocke's going to get an unaffiliated reactive card called Psionic Constructs. When an allied character within 3 of her targets an enemy character with an attack, Psylocke may spend 2 power to play it. The attack type is now Mystic, and the allied character may reroll any number of dice during this attack. So basically, she spends 2 power when someone within 3 of her is making an attack to turn it Mystic and let them reroll. There's a couple other cards like this, like cards that buff other things if you do them nearby. But it's a single attack reroll for 2 power and a card. Seems low status. I think it's going to get a really poor trash scale from Aaron.
Do you want me to provide my trash scale rating now?
Yeah, that's what I want.
Okay, Aaron, go ahead.
It's
then.
what the listeners want.
Oh, what the listeners want?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So we got to back up a second and go Grievous Wounds, because it was technically in the card pack.
What?
Grievous
Yeah,
Wounds,
you skipped a card,
Yeah.
Parker.
you were just
Okay.
blitzing right along.
I was.
Grievous Wounds is going to go up from a -8 to a -6.
Okay.
And we can explain why when we talk about Immortal Hulk. But
Okay.
it still should remain in your roster. Sorry, in your collection of don't even need to look at when I consider for a list.
All right,
But-
and what was that line? It has to hit like +1 to be it's considered to be put into a 10.
So at a 0, that means you should consider this card. You probably don't take it in your 10 at 0, but it is worth looking at.
So it's just going to take like 4 more Immortal Hulks getting released for you to actually consider taking this.
Yes, something like that.
All right, okay, I pick it up what you're putting down.
Psionic Constructs, I'm apparently higher on this than Parker is because I'm going to give it a 7. I do not think this card is stapled to Psylocke, but I think there is strong consideration to bring this card when you bring Psylocke. I'll drop that mic there and you guys can dissect it.
All right, so Aaron was apparently in a serious collision on his way home today, and now forgot how to rate cards.
What? I'm sorry. Are you having a stroke? It's for 2 power in a tactic slot. You get to re-roll some dice on one attack. You won't even get to re-roll all of them if there's
Okay.
a skull in there, and if you hit with any of them.
All
Oh,
right, just real quick, I want to get Jeremy's take before we dive into this too much. So, Jeremy, do you have any thoughts on Psionic Constructs?
Only the fact that you can combo it with about a 22 rolled dice.
Okay.
What do you mean?
That card and Helios. You fucking kidding me?
So that was the other thing that was brought up to me is that, apparently the immediate observation was, well, you just played this with Helios. And I disagree, because I think the whole point of Helios is that you're just going to use overwhelming force. It's like, I don't know. If you cared that much about rerolls, there's a lot of ways to get rerolls.
I don't. So it's not necessarily the rerolls, but if you have a list that takes Iron Man and also Psylocke, I mean, yeah, it's available and it's very, very strong.
So
yeah.
I agree with Brandon. I think the whole I'm going to roll 40 dice and reroll them all is a meme. But
Yeah.
I think it lets you achieve a similar effect with less power spent into your Helios. So instead of rolling 20 dice, well, I'll take 13 with full rerolls and achieve probably higher statistical averages.
I don't like the turns at
Um,
Mystic because that usually gives people extra defense dice. It doesn't
Well,
always.
It's a give take, right? Like, so you're going to get through Martial Artist, and you're going to get through.
Shield,
um,
Vibranium Shield, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but then on the same side, you're getting, the worst kind of attack versus a lot of people. Mystic is definitely better defended than Energy, but we're assuming that you're using it on Helios, which is probably not a great. So I think the actual value of this card is what 1-2 punch was originally supposed to be. Man, this is the most crucial attack I have of probably this entire game, and I need anything I can to make this attack better and pull the emergency lever, play this card. The problem I have with it is, like you said, a lot of people are extra resistant to Mystic, and also this is a tactics card that has extra restrictions on top of it. Psylocke has to be within 3 of the attacker and has to have 2 power and not be dazed. Like, that's a lot of extra restrictions for some rerolls on a regular attack.
So she can
I
also
don't think it's worthless.
she can use it on herself. It's not another allied character.
True.
And she's rolling 7 dice builders. I don't even know what her spender is, but I assume higher than that. So I actually think its best case scenario is not necessarily Helios, but anything that can get close to about 10 dice. And just like Brandon said, you save it for that one time when you need it. But I could imagine combining this with Rhino in a Chino shop, and all of a sudden Rhino goes from just a nuisance who's going to pick up an objective when he robberies you to this guy can kill anyone on the board.
I mean, that's cool if you've got 10 tactic slots, but like that's 4 tactic slots already, and you haven't taken a restricted card.
You're good. They're overrated. Why do we have?
Okay.
Aren't we in a
That's
new meta?
true.
A new meta with no restricted cards?
Well, I think your argument was that the restricted cards that we had were going to be in those slots, just not being restricted, not be removed from the lists.
Anyway, I think there's strong consideration to take this card if you have Psylocke.
I mean, I think it's worth considering. I think it's probably better than most of the rogue cards, but like I feel like you're only doing this because you're trying to achieve some kind of like, windmill objective where it's like, hey, look, I did the cool thing, and we're like, all right, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I just spending 2 power, making sure Psylocke's within 3 of something. If you're like, oh man, there's so many situations where I can make sure Psylocke always gets this card off. I'm like, I guess cool. I would much rather you have this than some other card. If I'm an opponent and I'm looking across the table at your cards and I see this card, I go, okay, good. He spent one of his tactics cards on that. That's not going to impact the game in a way that's going to make me change my play. I'm not going to change my play based on that card.
Not to mention, like the number of reverse polarity attacks I've had fail, like there's like fail to even deal damage. It's just like, cool, you got one really good attack, like that doesn't mean they die.
Mhm.
Like even if we just assume that it just doubled the damage of a single attack, I think that card gets played. I don't know that this one does. I think it's a solid card. I don't think you're trying to lose the game by taking it.
I don't know. I've seen
But like,
put this up
yeah.
against a card that actually says like all the cards that say you get rerolls for the rest of the turn on a single character. Now that card does guarantee death. This one makes it slightly more useful. Slightly more
what
often.
percentage of this card is it to Dark Rain?
Yeah,
Like 10% of Dark Rain?
less.
So here's a question though: how often do you use? How many Dark Rain attacks does it normally take to kill someone? 2?
Probably like 2 or 3.
Yeah. So in my experience, it's usually about 2. So
Depends on what kind of list you're building. If you're building a tall list, then yeah, probably 2.
So at that point, this is something akin to half of a Dark Rain.
Well, but no, because it's only playable by a single character. It has a range restriction, and it changes the damage type, which could actually be a bad thing.
I still feel like if you're playing in a meta or a tournament and this is one of your 10 cards and one of your 10 characters and you know that Steve is the most common used leader in what you're about to face, I think this is a very solid choice. Like I would use it.
Just to try and kill Steve?
Yes, absolutely. Steve can be a motherfucker, but this allows you basically anyone to kill Steve.
Mm,
I think this card generates maybe slightly more damage on Steve than, like, Heave-Ho. Like, it's better, but, like, it's a measurable amount better. That's not incredible.
yeah, like I would rather have Ant-Man and Wasp's PIM discs than this. It would be more damage and require a similar investment in power and proximity. Like the Hank Pin and Wasp, like you allow another character to throw a terrain feature. I think that is better than this.
Not to mention, like, you play this card and it just gets bodyguarded.
Yeah.
Or they lifesaver it.
Gets bodyguarded by Steve, bodyguarded himself. What are you talking about?
No, like, they have other bodyguards available in the list sometimes. Like, you could just
Not in
get...
Steve's list.
What?
Who's doing
I
that?
play extra bodyguards.
Luke
you
Cage.
don't.
Luke Cage is in his list, maybe.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, he's commonly in Steve's list.
Anyway, I think it
Like,
has some value, but
let's just talk about
whatever.
like it's the same things that Helios gets stopped by, right? And so we're assuming that you're gonna have like a hyper attack and assume your opponent can't stop it. Like the fact that it can be stopped and you have to telegraph which attack they need to bodyguard to Okoye is like a huge problem.
Mhm.
I'm trying to find that Ant-Man card. PIM Particles.
Not to mention, it's like if you just roll good on the attack, it basically does nothing.
So yeah, PIM Particles says Ant-Man or Wasp may spend 2 to play it. Choose another ally character
Throw
within
size.
3. Then they can throw a terrain feature size 3 or less within 3 of that chosen character and throws it medium. Like that's going to be, I think, much more damage. And when has anybody been excited to play PIM Particles? Like, I think this card.
Well, you have
is
to take
bad.
Ant-Man or Wasp to do that, right?
Right. So I think that card is probably slightly worse than this card, but they're comparable, I think.
Yeah.
Because the throws get through more things than Mystic attacks.
Well, it
do.
depends how popular Psylocke actually is. I guess is key
True.
here. I mean, if
If
people
it's a
are,
zero cost investment to get her in the list,
Yeah.
then yeah, obviously it makes the card better.
I would not take her for that card. Let's just say that. If
There
she
we
is
go.
in my
Definitely not.
list, I mean, you see what I'm saying? Like, I'm
Yeah.
I'm fighting the battle like she's in my list already. I'm definitely not saying that I want
Okay.
her in my list necessarily.
How about this, Aaron? What if you were building your list importance of Tactus cards in order? which tactics card is this in your list? Like, is it the 7th card you take? Is it the 2nd card you take?
So
Because
clearly,
I feel like it's somewhere around like 8 or 9
I-
at
I-
best.
think I totally agree with you. I don't.
Mhm.
Again, these are all hot takes, right? Never played this
Yeah.
card or the model.
No, right, for sure.
But I think obviously I test this card initially with Psylocke in every list to see if it's of use.
Mhm.
My assumption is it will be a fringe 10-card inclusion in an actual list 4 months down the road. It's somewhere between 8 and 12, depending on the rest of the list makeup.
Okay.
So speaking
I
of
think that's about where I would view it. So I think we're in a similar spot. I think your hot crazy scale doesn't make a lot of sense in my brain. So I thought you thought it was better than you think it is.
Fair enough.
speaking of cards that you can take with Psylocke, there's another one, Crimson Dawn, which I think is a really awesome reach into some, very cool, late 90s X-Men lore. But it's an unaffiliated reactive card with her again. When she flips her stat card to the injured side, she can spend 3 power to do this. I think this is the first time we've ever seen this happen. When she does it, she gains a passive superpower. At the beginning of her activation and after each of her actions, she immediately places herself within 1 of her current position. Additionally, she gains healing factor 1. Of her 2 cards, this is the one I was excited about, but I love passives. Is anyone else excited about this card?
Go ahead, Brandon.
I was just trying to refamiliarize myself on how hard she is to kill.
Mm-hmm.
She's only 5 health on the back, 3/3/4, but she's got martial artist, stealth, and rerolls.
And she also has health regen at this point, so she could use exceptional healing.
But that doesn't keep her from dying. It just makes her. Yeah, healing is good, but I mean for like you play the card, she just gets killed.
No, exceptional
that's
healing.
What I'm thinking
is what I'm thinking.
Oh, because she could play exceptional healing.
Yes, once she has healing factor, she could play it.
I guess if she's in X-Men, that's not a big deal.
Or X-Force, because she's likely in X-Force too.
Yeah, but then you'd have to be playing X-Force.
I'm saying we're talking about already taking her, right?
I know. Well, I'm just saying that like I'm not worried if my opponent's playing X-Force. So
yeah, says you.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I didn't think about that. Gaining access to exceptional healing. I like the card. I like having a really really mobile character. She's already. Oh no, she's not speed long, right? Yeah, she's medium.
She does have a two. She does have a place herself though, or sorry, advance herself. She advances short, so she can advance short, place 1 3 times while doing actions.
But she's injured. Go ahead.
The movement on this ability is nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she can only advance short once per turn. But yeah, the triple place plus the short charge in effect is super good. My hot take on this card is that it is not as good as the hype would lead it to be, and the reason I say that is because it is entirely contingent upon your opponent triggering it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so knowing you have this card turns you into a super mobile, potentially super tanky model if you have exceptional online. Like, why am I going to daze you, give you 10 power, and then let you go anywhere you want, effectively, and do anything you want? I'm either going to daze you and have a plan, or I'm just never going to fucking daze you, obviously, if I can afford it. So it also has 0 game in the first 2 to 3 turns of the game. Like, you can't do anything. Like, it has abilities only after she's flipped. So I'm not a huge fan of cards that have no effect for a while. Like, I like to be able to have options starting turn 2 on when I can use my cards to achieve game altering states. And depending how the game's going, you may not. This may be a wasted card all game.
The fact that it gives your opponent the opportunity to just play in a way that prevents one of your tactics cards from ever being used is annoying. I don't think it's powerful enough to justify putting in if that is possible.
No, I still think it's good. I guess I would put its power on par with the previous one. I think it's a 6. It is a fringe card you'll put in. I just don't think it's a earth-shattering 10 that is going to be in every list with Psylocke.
No.
After the first 2 months of everyone putting it in to test it. Jeremy?
I don't really have an opinion about this one. Honestly, it's makes her better when she's on her backside, I guess. I don't know why she can't just do that already. Fuck it. I mean, seriously, it makes you use up a tactic slot, which that's such a premium these days. I think it's kind of stupid.
Yeah, how about that? If you could just play it at the start of the game, would you? Would that be worth the tactic slot? Probably, but I don't actually know that it would be.
Yeah.
Because let's say you're doing X-Men, which is the most likely place I think that card gets played, is you already have first class, your 2 restricteds, and exceptional healing. So that's your last tactic slot. I don't know, that seems like a stretch. And it's way worse than that.
Unless
I
there's some
think-
secret like first turn jank that's like undeniable. I just don't. Again, why are you? I don't know how you take this over other things.
I value action economy more than anything else in this game, and this card grants that. So
I
But
would
she
say
already has action economy.
just more. But I
Sure.
What are the odds her short move plus the range of her attacks isn't going to be enough if she just got dazed?
I think in
oh,
the
I was
second half
talking about if I could use it at the beginning of the game.
Oh, sure. If you
Yeah.
could use it on the first turn, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead, Parker.
Yeah, I was going to say that I think in the later terms of the game, which is when this is likely getting played, on those later turns, I think the mobility actually gets more important, not less, because you're trying to make sure she's in a place where she's going to do the most good for the scenario and not just get manhandled. I don't know if this is the way to play Crimson Dawn, but you could play her more aggressively. She has a martial artist and stealth, so you could put her in a place, pick up a scenario piece if your opponent doesn't have the ability to steal. Which is really rare now in this game. But if they don't somehow, and they have to kill her to knock it out of her, then you're going to play Crimson Dawn, and maybe you get to play it turn 2 because they felt like they really, really had to kill her in turn 1, so they invested a whole lot of energy and time, and they got through all the stuff that she does. Maybe you'd capitalize on that somehow next turn. She kills somebody, picks it up, and moves 3 times. I don't know. I'd have to see it played to find out if it's great, but I think it's got legs. I think there are legs that it stands on. I think if you just play this card into your 5 and then just play Psylocke like a really cagey character and really try to keep her in reserve, I think Aaron's right. I think your opponent will oblige you and just let you take your 4-point character and hide somewhere and never get anything out of Crimson Dawn. But
Well, also, like, you're talking about, like, the scenario placement on her backside. Like, she's injured, so, like, her ability to heavily affect scenarios curved a bit.
Yeah.
She also, like, the healing factor on a 5 hit point frame that's, like, 3s is not overly appealing. You're really just hoping that you really lock it in on the martial artist, I feel.
well,
And
that's
that keeps you alive.
well, I could tell you, 3s with healing factor is what Laura has, and that bitch can sometimes live way too long.
Yeah, but Laura's got the reroll she shouldn't have and, like, infinite mobility to get away from the people she wants to get away from.
But so will she on her backside, right? That's what Psylocke will do.
No, X-23 would be noticeably more maneuverable. She moves medium twice a turn, right?
If she has enough power, yeah.
Yeah.
I think Psylocke and her will be very similar on their backsides. Only I think Psylocke does kill things better. I think she does. It's gonna be close, but I think she does.
Well, I just don't know that you're ever going to devote the. I mean, obviously, it's wherever the dice fall, but
Mhm.
I feel like exceptional healing is going to get burned on one of your other models first.
I think this will be. I don't know if this is going to be like some of the other buff passive cards that we've seen that just don't get played out there, or not. I'm not sure, but I'm going to try this one at least once. But I like all the mutants. Or you want to see another one?
Yeah,
Yep.
bring it.
Emma Frost got some cards too. The first one's called Head Mistress. It's an Uncanny X-Men active card. During Emma Frost's activation, she can spend X power to play the card. For each power spent, an allied Uncanny X-Men character that is not holding an objective token may advance medium.
So this is a 10,
I fucking hate this card.
This is to me my X-Men, but good.
but also.
Yeah. So I haven't even started to think about the jank you could do with this card turn 1, but it's stupid. So she can use it on herself. Like, I get a free medium move first turn of the game. Like, I can think of a lot of things I'd like to do with that. You can obviously combine it with first class. Like, Storm moves up Beast, and then she moves Beast medium, and now Beast is, like, sitting on, I don't know where he's at, way the fuck down the field before he does anything. I just couldn't believe they printed another X-Men free movement card.
It's very
That-
strange.
To Brandon's
Yeah,
point, X-Men have a ton of tactics cards I like to use, so I'm not sure it's a 10. Like, in my mind, that is every time that character's on the board or that affiliation's on the board, that card is with them. Because of the competition, it's probably not at that level. But It's
What
stupid.
are you just talking about the character cards? Because they don't have that many good affiliated cards. You're saying cards that they tend to take a lot?
Yes. X-Men have a certain number of cards that they tend to take.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. To your point earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, because technically they only had 3, but I understand what you're saying. The funny part is I think this card makes, to me, my X-Men more live than it's ever been, which is like you're trying to shove 2 cards in your list. All right, this card's obviously good. I don't like the ability for turn 1 plays for it, because I don't like a lot of turn 1 jank, and I also I feel like you'd be wasting a lot of efficiency because you couldn't get full use out of it if you do it on the first turn, barring like God Dice, but yeah, it's clearly very, very strong.
How much is Zima getting more than 1 power, or are you just trying to move 1 character in your supposition of turn 1 stuff?
She could walk up and like throw an attack at somebody.
There you go. That's right. It's just during her turn. She has gains power equal to damage dealt with 5. Yeah.
Mystic 5 builder.
Mm-hmm. Range 4 easy.
Yeah.
So the thing is, X-Men don't need turn 1 jank because they already have it with
Right.
Stormhop. Unless this is going to unlock Cyclops turn 1 or turn 1. I don't want to think about that. So I don't. This card would be more broken in other affiliations. How about that? Because I think every team needs a center line steal option available. You can choose to forego that. That's just a choice you're making. This would give it to any team that had it. Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm just thinking that I haven't spent time looking at all the different missions and seeing like because obviously the problem with a lot of these turn 1 advances is you want to do it as early as possible, because the longer you wait, the chances you're going to lose your opportunity to that the movement you need for, right? And so I'm just thinking, like, how many things could you do to get more power on Emma other than making an attack? Because Advanced R&D is limited to activation also. Wong is limited to activation. Her attacking is obviously an option, but random. Oh my god, can you imagine if somebody played Sinister Traps against you? You could double move Emma, take the damage, play this for 4.
Move your entire team.
Else on your team
Yeah.
medium. Then Stormhop. One of those people.
You've made a mistake.
Yeah. Oof.
You described my last game to a T. Good thing Emma's not out yet.
Mm.
I just think baseline, like there are a lot of teams that'll take Bill and Eyes on the Prize to give them a safe center line steal. And
Yeah.
Emma does this with First Class for free. It's 2
Yeah.
cards, but they're cards that X-Men are already playing. So now you can afford to Stormhop somewhere else, or you don't have to use
Right.
Beast. This opens up so many turn 1 plays for X-Men like they weren't already lacking to begin with. It's just rich getting richer.
Yeah, this almost makes me feel like we should expect some kind of change coming for X-Men, because it just seems odd that they just double down so hard on something. Maybe First Class is either going away or changing, and this is like their new one, or maybe Storm's changing. I don't know. Seems odd.
I like where your head's at.
I don't know. I think I don't. When I heard your point, Aaron, I was actually hearing more like this is a hat on a hat. It's like, yeah, you could do this and move even more, and so I'm standing across from my opponent, watching the X-Men player move all over the place. I'm like, great, you moved so much, and I guess if you turn that all into all the victory points, but like Brandon said, you can't get all the victory points. Your opponent still gets a turn. So as long as you can't get all the victory points, I guess I need to see somebody use this to take all the victory points. But if they do, then it's great.
So I think it's like X-Men don't want to play Beast into Guardians. Beast is a big part of their hop plan because he's the medium base.
Yeah.
They could instead take her, play Headmistress, and accomplish the same thing. So it gives them more flexible options, whether they use them all at the same time or matchup dependent. Is I guess what I was trying to get at.
Mhm.
Well, here's a couple points I wanted to run by you guys. So, do we technically know that Emma's an X-Men? Is it actually official?
No.
Or is it just theorized, right?
So with this card,
This
I can't
card
imagine
says
it's
Uncanny
not.
X-Men, so
Right, so I understand that the evidence would heavily suggest she's going to be in. But I'm just saying, technically, she's not yet, right?
You are
Because it
correct.
didn't say in her blurb that she was, and
Nope.
she's not on the list yet. So there could be a chance. And I know she's got like the X logo on her brooch as well, which is just like, yeah, she's going to be affiliated. I get it. I'm just saying, like, so unless we're just all reading too much into stuff or they're really faking us out, she's going to be an X-Men, which just tells me that every prevalent mutant that they have an excuse to putting in X-Men is going to be an X-Men moving forward, which is why this card scares me more than like something like Stormhawk First Class. Because this, again, is more future bonuses. So in future lists, they'll have the choice of either Stormhawk First Class or Headmistress First Class. And now you don't have to play Storm. What if they get a third leader, and that third leader is good in other ways? You keep all the turn 1 plays while using a different leader, and that's also very annoying. And so we've seen with Avengers, they're going to find an excuse to put basically every model in the game in your affiliation. X-Men feels like they're doing a similar thing. I'm just worried that, like, again, future-proofing later releases, being able to medium move every X-Men model in the game is something you have to plan around. And I don't know how many people that listen to our podcast played War Machine, but there's a caster in the game that's basically said, your opponent's army can't move this turn. And so just imagine how crippling that is in a scenario game. Every scenario they ever designed after that model was released, they had to do like hours and hours of theory crafting and playtesting just to make sure that they could even introduce that mission into the game, because this character had this stupid ability they never should have printed. And so it's clearly nowhere near that bad, but it just like gets me thinking about that stuff. Jeremy, let me guess, you don't care, it's stupid.
I already talked about it.
Oh, did you? Did you say it was stupid?
Yeah, it's stupid and broken. Absolutely.
Okay, good. I think this, like, I don't see how you find space for fucking Psylocke cards after this.
Okay, Parker.
It's looking...
How about mind transfer?
We're gonna do mind transfer next. Got it.
Yeah.
Mind transfer is during Emma Frost activation, she can spend 4 power to play this card anywhere. It's unaffiliated, just inactive for her. You choose an enemy character with an activated token within 3 of her. Move an activated token from the chosen character to another enemy character that does not have an activated token within 2 of the chosen characters. So basically, you find 2 characters that are within 2. They can, one of them that you target could be an enemy. Oh, sorry, they both have to be enemies. They must be enemies.
Yes,
yeah,
they're both enemies.
So they're both the enemies, and you just take the activated token off of one of them and give it to the other person. You're activating a character that you want to activate, but they get the original character that already activated back. They do get to activate that character again.
Of note,
Can
say non-dazed, although that's in the core rulebook, so
yeah,
neither can be dazed.
Well, that depends on if you read the rules forms or not. But anyway, can I go first on this one?
Sure.
Okay, so I just want to say, I love the theme of this card so much. It's very cool. It's very thematic. It's actually a mechanic like I've kind of thought about before. And fuck this card. I do not want this card to exist. Get rid of this fucking card. Please stop it. That's all I had to say. You guys can go now.
Why don't you like this card, Brandon?
Because fuck that. This is not something we need. I really don't need Okoye like gaining a second activation instead of Immortal Hulk.
Oh, really? Yeah, this is I the game
At
is,
least
how do you like keep your eye on every character and also where this thing like she just has to, like
so
holy shit.
If she couldn't move people, I would have much less of a problem with this card. If it was just stay out of 2, just you're gonna have to learn to play outside of range 2, no bodyguards for you, get over it. Cool. But like she can move people. There's no playing against this card. It's like she's just gonna get to do it, and you're just gonna have to fucking eat shit. Like, I have all my models range 5 from all of my Malekiths. Like that's how it's gonna work.
So
at least it has to be during her activation. Because could you imagine, like Doctor Strange activates, pushes your model, Crimson bans you, and then fucking passes that check mark to somebody else with a tactics card? Like fuck me.
I think the appropriate counterplay is to force her onto her diamond side every turn. If you're worried about this card, right? If you got a 7-point model operating in the vicinity of any of your other models.
You mean because she can't move people?
She can't bow.
Okay.
Am I wrong?
I didn't realize she had bow. I thought she had to roll the wild to move you. Yeah, she doesn't have bow. She just has the wild hit. Yeah.
Yeah, the movement effect is on her normal side only. So
sure.
If you're worried about this card, and you probably should be if she has it, You just need to do what you can to force her to flip over to diamond.
It's okay because you could just like use Indomitable so she can't move you, right? Oh wait, no, that doesn't work.
You could just play.
Think of all the great counterplay you have.
Psychic shielding device.
There you go. PSD, Juggernaut, and there's one more. I'm forgetting it.
Sentinels.
There you go. So, there you go, Jeremy. Dust off those Sentinels. It's anti-Emma.
Nope.
I
Nothing's worth
have-
that.
I have something to tell you guys after this. I'll write it down. I'll make a note.
Good. This is the main thing with one of these cards, and Jeremy, you kind of alluded to it, is when I see that on my opponent's side of the board, it's kind of like Deception. I think I'll have to play against it 5 times before I'm like, okay, I think I can play against this card now, and not just immediately get fucked by it. I don't know how I'm going to stop it the first 5 times I play against it, and then I'll be like, oh, that's how you play against Deception. It'll be the same thing. But the fact that we're talking about it in the same like vein as Deception is so strong. It's insane. It blows my mind that they printed this card. Blows my mind that they let people move activated tokens, because this goes against the one thing that we've always seen them consistently worry about, which is taking agency away from your opponent, right? Making them feel as if their things didn't matter. One thing I considered, a lot of a very common tactic in this game is to activate a character with very low health early, so that you can make sure to get their activation, you get use out of them before they get dazed. So what happens if you activate that character with 1 health, and now they're sitting next to the really great character you want to activate later with 0 damage, and you're like, okay, Emma activates, she moves the token from the character with 1 health over to the character with full health, and then does 1 damage to that character. Now it's dazed, and you're like, oh shit. So this card just makes the very simple act of making sure you get activations every turn more difficult, period, full stop. That takes away agency so bad. It blows my mind that they printed this card. Blows my mind.
I actually don't think this card's going to get played very often.
Because it's so hard to fit it in.
Yeah, because it's hard to fit in because there's so many other good cards. And it's complicated, right? People won't understand how to get it to work. And if it's like people are actually trying to counter tall lists, I could see it happening. But I think that actually is just going to lead to it actually working at a higher percentage because people won't know how to play against it because it's not something you see all the time.
I think we'll see it for the next 2 months quite a bit. I think this is either a 10 or a 4. I don't know. Like, I have no idea. This is either an auto-include every list Emma's in, or you don't take it because you're never going to be able to get it off.
Aaron, I wasn't aware that the trash scale had an optional rating. I thought you had to rate it.
In which case, it's a 7.
Wait till they see my Dormammu Thanos list. Transfer 1 to the other one. Go ahead. And then he'll go. So fuck that.
Yeah, you can activate Dormammu twice. That's fine. Good trade.
So if we
It's
could sum up
for us,
these, the 4 we've just kind of talked about, excluding the grievous wounds, I think they are all very good cards, at a minimum worth considering. Like, none of these cards are trash. I don't think Headmistress is as broken as you guys do. I think it's stupid, and I wish it wasn't in the game, but I don't think it's like overpowered broken. Bottom line is, I think I like them all from a design concept and a power level concept.
Don't let me in with them. I think Headmistress is a hat on a hat. I don't think it's that great.
Sure.
I never said I thought it was that broken. I'm worried about it.
You-
Anytime, because I don't think this card's going to be used as Avengers Assemble. It's going to be used as turn 1 Jank. And that's why I don't like it. Is because if that was their intent, they should stop printing cards to do that kind of stuff. Because it keeps creating problems. Like, we had to suffer through Mystic Herbs for like a year. Just because people were like, let's do this cool thing. It's like, you shouldn't be allowed to have that kind of effect on the game on the first turn. Like, it's just like one side just double moves and gets punished, and the other side just does all the things. And you're like, this isn't fair.
Why do they keep running with this whole mutants are like super fast? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
Who made that call? Like, okay, sure.
I'm still amazed we haven't gotten a Blackbird card yet.
Just drop the whole team off wherever you want.
Yeah, everyone plays 5. Like, fuck it.
Everyone
Who
plays
cares?
5.
Fuck it, who cares?
Plays within 1 of any one thing. You're like, what?
Yeah. No, I mean, basically, it would just be Shield Mobile, right?
Yeah.
It's like Blackbird. So anyway,
Okay.
luckily, that's all the cards. That was
Wait.
it. There was only 5 of them.
Wait. There's one more.
Oh.
The last card is a brand new affiliation brought to you by a card called My Hellfire Club. So this is an unaffiliated card, which is important because of, well, you'll find out. When this card is included in your squad, if your squad is unaffiliated, so unlike some of the others, like the one that makes, if you're Black Order, then you can play it, or if you're Convocation, you can play it. But this one is if your squad is unaffiliated and includes Emma Frost, you can activate it. So it's a paragraph, but we're going to try here. Once per round, at the end of an allied character's activation, Emma Frost may use it. When she does, all other allied characters that are contesting or holding an objective gain 1 power and remove a damage. So they heal and gain a power if they're contesting or holding. Any allied characters that are not contesting or holding lose a power and take a damage. Emma Frost then gains 1 power for each damage lost in that way and may remove 1 damage for each damage suffered in that way. So she benefits from your opponents getting hurt and losing power.
Damages from her team getting hurt.
Yes. Sorry, did I say? I think I misspoke. Yes. So first thing, for anybody who hasn't followed the instant rigmarole that's already coming out in the forums, how do you become unaffiliated exactly? Is like a really important question, because if all your characters are already X-Men, can you just say I'm not? And you can. You could just say, I am not affiliated with any team. Even though all my characters are mutants and Storm's on the table, I am not playing X-Men. And then you can play this card instead, for example.
So when I first saw this card, I stopped reading when I saw how you played it. I didn't read the leadership ability.
Mm-hmm.
It's better than I thought it would be, but I don't know. Yeah, it's better than I thought it would be. The leadership ability, anyway. The other shit's all busted. Like, fuck that. But
the fact that you have to be the fact that you can just be unaffiliated and then get something.
I mean, I always assumed that would be the case. I never thought that you'd have to play people from different affiliations, because that'd be so fucking weird and hard to enforce. Because you'd have to know all of everyone's affiliations all the time to enforce it. It would just be really annoying.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually hard to get unaffiliated at this point. Like, you'll be randomly affiliated with some like affiliation you weren't even intending on being affiliated with.
Right.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, is Bullseye in that? Fuck. Like, it'd actually just be annoying as shit. If you couldn't choose, it'd be terrible. Like, if it wasn't a May, you had to do it every turn. Like, the last person to activate would just die on the first turn. That would be hilarious.
It's interesting.
It's like Bob's in the corner just explodes.
The timing is interesting because it's not Emma Frost's activation. It's at the end of some allied character's activation.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. So you can really rig it pretty precisely in terms of what you want to do. You at least go +1 or down 1 for Emma, right? You can either make sure she gets +1 power, +1 damage if you move a character away from objective and then do it, or make sure that character heals 1 and gains a power if you move them towards it.
That's the thought, is like halfway through your activations on the first turn, you start using it, and then the people towards the end heal the damage they just took. And so you end up like taking 1 damage, but you end up with a lot of power on your team.
Well, it is once per round, so it's not once per turn.
Oh, it's only once per round.
So you're only
I missed that.
It's a bubble. It's like a bubble that pops only 6 times max per game.
Okay.
So
that's way more reasonable than.
Oh
okay.
yeah,
I thought it was every turn.
Oh no, that would be so weird. That would
That would be nuts. Yeah.
Yeah.
After the first turn, just everyone heals every round. Like, fuck me. All right, cool. That would be good.
So I kind of compared this in my head to Steve and Red Skull, right? The power gain. So Steve is just, for the most part, +1 power per turn for your whole team. Red Skull is a conditional +1 power for an objective. For this one, it's the same, right? +1 power.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bonus if you get to heal, but then there's a negative. Like, if you're not an objective, then you lose a power and you take a damage.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the ceiling is much higher, right? I would love power and heal every turn, please. But the floor is much lower. On turn 3, you're like, I need my objective so this person can heal one. Or sorry, I need my leadership so, character X can heal. But oh shit, character Y is going to die if I choose to activate my leadership now. Like, that floor can be
But
pretty
how
low.
often do you have characters that aren't contesting points at like the start of a round?
I agree with your sentiment. You are often 80%, maybe even higher than that, of your characters are usually on or holding an objective at almost any point in the game after round 1.
Yeah. And the only time they aren't is when, like, I just got dazed and dropped my extract.
There are often times you are fighting off of a point because of placement, right? All I know is that in 3 or 4 games, there will be times you are going to want to use that leadership, but will end up killing a model because of it.
I think that's going to be exceedingly rare.
So I think the leadership is good, but I think the ceiling floor is more disparate than some of the leaderships we've seen so far. I
So,
also think
let's
it's
say
really
you-
fun.
Let's say you bring 5 models and you get 80% coverage positive with your leadership in 5 rounds of a game. So you hit 5 times 4 is 20. So you get a total of 20 power and heal 20.
You're never going to have damage on all your characters, though. How many characters go from fully
Right.
healthy to dead in one activation?
Sure.
Quite
We'll
a
just
few.
call it 20 power, and let's
Sure.
say we heal half of the damage. 20 power and 10 healing. That's way more than like Malekith and Sam, but you don't get the move.
Which is the most important part of those leaderships. But
Can be, yeah. A lot of times with Malekith, I'm more interested in the healing, like on my important models. But yeah, the movement's obviously good.
I would argue that like Red Skull and Steve's leadership for power is better in the fact that it gives them the power at the beginning of the turn, effectively. Like every model has Steve's leadership when they activate. For Emma, you could either do that as the first activation of the round, in which case everyone gains their power. However, if you haven't started to take damage yet, like do you save her leadership for when you take damage on a key character to get that key heal? I think that's very nuanced and will require a lot of testing and effort going forward.
It will effectively make your first model that activates immune to bleed.
Healing
So let's
factor.
think about it in like just progression wise. You're obviously going to use it at the end of the last character to activate on the first turn.
No, but go ahead.
Really? Why?
Because I'm going to take 4 healing factor models. I'm going to activate any one of them first. They're all going to take 4 damage. Emma's going to gain 4 power, and they're all going to heal it off at the end of the first turn.
Okay, what does that do for Emma?
It gives her 4 power
Okay.
for no drawback.
And, well, it is a drawback. You built a dumbass list.
Logan, X23, Honey Badger, and Strucker disagree. Go ahead.
Oh,
Anyway,
yeah, I think that is a bad list because you should just be playing an actual affiliation.
That was just to say I don't think you auto activate her or
Sure.
use the leadership at the end
But
of turn 1.
The whole point is that you're gaining maximum advantage on turn 1. There's nothing your opponent can stop you.
Well,
right?
the
Correct.
thing is also you consolidated power because all of them also lost a power. So I guess if they all
Right.
because you can't heal on first turn without first them losing a power. So they're not affecting any scenarios that require them to pick up a token or flip something. So or else they're taking a damage and sitting on it and hoping they don't get dazed before they activate again. So
Well, at first turn, yeah, they're not going to get dazed.
Right.
But yeah.
well, I mean,
So yeah, the
on top
losing
of 2
power
before
is
they get to
super
activate.
relevant. Yeah, the losing of power is super relevant.
Right.
But the whole point is you're going to get maximum coverage of whatever you want to do on the first turn.
Also, here's
And
funny.
then on the second turn, you're going to get probably maximum coverage when you activate your first model.
This is interesting. I thought of something really sublime about this. So if you activate Emma first, everybody loses a power. Now they can't touch anything. All they can do is sit on secures. If you activate them first, and then they go and pick up something or flip something, now they're contesting. So when she pops it, she doesn't get to power anyway. They just gain a power and remove a damage. So you don't. They made that so that it's really interesting. A first turn play for Emma is particularly debilitating for you, unless Emma does something with that 4 power that's just absolutely amazing.
Sure.
So are there any
Like
characters?
she could play mind transfer on the first turn, depending on like the fucking. Well, I mean, obviously, first turn would be weird unless they did something like gamma launch, but
Are there any characters that gain power when they are damaged by allied effects?
none that have healing factor. to my
Rhino?
knowledge.
You are both correct. Rhino,
Rhino, Red Guardian,
and Red Guardian.
Sin.
So you could build those 3 characters, not saying it's a good list, but Emma could power up for 4. Those characters could still interact turn 1, so you still have 3 pay-to-flips and or extracts that you're picking up. Then turn 2, she goes first, and she heals the damage on those characters.
Mhm.
So now you have basically powered up your characters and Emma for free.
There you go. I like that.
Anyway.
But you missed out on turn 1 opportunities, but yes.
Well, not...
on those specific characters, yes.
Right.
Sorry,
So-
I was still had the healing factor people in my head.
So this is why I think this leadership is an A in my mind right now, because I've only thought about it for about 18 and a half seconds. But there's already so many different things you could do with it. It's just fun.
It is very interesting. I will 100% agree with that. Like the lines of thought that you can produce. Like, for example, think about this. Honey Badger is like almost the perfect model in that list. She's a good bodyguard. You don't care if she doesn't have power on the first turn because she can't pick shit up anyway. She's going to heal the damage she suffers. So she's just a power battery for Emma, in addition to being a potential bodyguard later.
So is this where we actually start running Nebula and Honey Badger together? Power
Well, the problem is they can never contest, so they can never gain the power and heal the damage. And Nebula heals when she starts the activation, not when she ends it. Not that it matters a lot. But...
Right, so you go with Honey Badger. She heals at the end. Nebula heals at the beginning. It could work. Anyway, like you said, lines of thought. It's fun.
Well, yeah, they're never going to die due to the leadership, right? Because they'll heal the leadership damage. They're going to die because they get attacked and they have no defense.
Wasn't a perfect list, but hey.
Well, I mean, it's interesting because you basically have 2 models that just feed 2 power to M every turn. Now, I don't know if she does anything with said power because she's a 4-point model. Like, she's not going to win the game for you, but she'll be annoying as fuck.
Can we talk about the other reason I really like this card?
Go for it.
Okay. So the other thing this card gives you is a very minimal opportunity cost second leadership. So there's a lot of discussion, or there can be discussion on whether do you mono or dual affiliate, or do you go mono affiliation dual leaders. And I won't get into a lot of it, but I think there's a couple list and or scenario archetypes you have to think about when you build your list. Real quick, when I play Kingpin, a scenario archetype is pay-to-flips. Kingpin does almost jack shit for pay-to-flips. Why would I run Kingpin? I probably shouldn't. I need a second list to be able to handle pay-to-flips. What is that? Is that Daredevil? Is that dual affiliate with? I've done Brotherhoods, Foes, X-Men, Avengers. You could, whatever you want. Or is it my 10th character's Emma and this card? And now I have something else I could play when my primary plan isn't in play. I really, really like that strategic option to just slot her in the card in.
So, as a vague concept, I agree, but I don't know that the Hellfire list that you want to play is just going to randomly exist inside your pre-existing list.
My point is, if I'm 9 criminals and Emma, the list is probably better with Emma instead of Kingpin in that list if I end up paying pay-to-flips.
Yeah, that's fair. Just because he's such a binary leader.
He may be the most extreme example.
Yeah. And I would agree with you in that situation. Like, anyone else would be better because he's not doing anything.
So, again, Kingpin's my baby, and so that immediately came to mind. I don't know what other interactions are out there to where it could be a viable off list with minimal, like I said, opportunity cost in terms of other models you need to put in to make a decent Emma list. Because at the end of the day, all she's doing is healing and providing power. Name any model in the game that doesn't like that, other than people who can't contest. I mean, she makes every model better. Now, the opportunity cost of playing Hellfire Club is all of your affiliated tactics cards no longer exist. You're not playing Avengers Assemble. You don't get all according to plan, right? You don't have Magnetic Refraction. So these great reasons to play in other affiliations, the only thing you have is Hellfire Club, ability to make another affiliation. So.
Yeah, definitely. But I don't know. My only pushback would be that it's not going to be, I think, as common that people have a actual viable Hellfire list inside their roster already. So I think it's actually going to cost more than just the 2 slots, but it is a really good observation, and I think it's probably an easier one to get to if you just need an alternate because you're going for a gimmick, and like when your gimmick doesn't work, you're screwed. It's funny, you could actually basically, because you can do the same thing with Dormammu technically, right? Just drop in Dormammu and like 1 card and you're technically ready to go. But you could actually do like triple affiliation with. So Dormammu's known for you just want all the good models, right? You don't care what it is. And so Hellfire kind of wants the same thing. I wonder if there'll be a fun Hellfire Dark Dimension crossover where they both just have all the fun models and you just pick which one's better on this mission.
I'm at least at half a stock when you said that, so.
Oh God, Jeremy, what do you think?
I'm gonna have to play against it. I'm not excited to play with it, but I would like to see what it can do. And kind of like, I like the shock and awe moments when something happens with a new leadership. It is power. It really reminded me a lot of the Red Skull. What he does with his power and all that. But I don't know. I'm not excited by her model. The leadership's interesting. I'll let you guys do all the grinding and see what happens. And then if there's something
Yeah.
interesting, that pops out and I see and I'm like, oh, that would be a lot of fun to do to people, then I might jump on board. But yeah, I like the cool looking models, and she's just, she's a regular girl and then she's an ice girl, so like whatever, it's fine.
Diamond. She's Diamond.
Whatever.
Anyway, I think it's gonna be a leadership that's gonna take a lot of practice because it's not gonna be obvious of all the weird combos there are in like order of operations and stuff, and not forgetting it on the important turn. Like imagine just like, oh, the one time it actually would have been like absolutely like amazing, and then you just forget to do it because it's a weird leadership that only happens once around. Anyway. All right, so at least we're done with news now. News is done. We only had the 6 cards.
There's some Earthshakers, though.
Oh, yeah. Nothing else for news.
That's it. Wait, there's more.
Shit.
First off, we found out that Squirrel Girl is likely going to get leaked soon. We just know of her.
Specifically on May 11th?
Mm-hmm.
March 11th.
And that's it. Wait. Nope, there's more.
Oh,
I found something else. It's hiding underneath here. It's an entire Hulk. Here it is. The Immortal Hulk got spoiled. We know his character card. He has a front side, and that's all you need. Stay tuned for why. Stay tuned. Stay tuned for why.
We're gonna have to paraphrase a lot. We're just
yeah.
bring this down.
I'm gonna make this
already gone.
It's
been hour-long news already.
You'll be pleased with me, Brandon. I practiced already. Are you ready?
Oh God!
I practiced to make this fast. Now
I'm
you have to tell me if I go
excited
too
now.
fast. Okay? You tell me if I go too fast. Here we go.
All right.
The Immortal Hulk is a 4/3/5, 15 health. He costs 7. He moves short. He's a size 4. He has a range 2, 7 dice builder with a wild throw. He has a spender that costs 5. Has 10 dice for and range 3. He automatically throws the target short, and your opponent does not gain power for that damage. He has Gamma Leap just like he always used to. He has Leave Hulk Alone, which is the same throw he used to. He
Costs 3 now.
It costs 3 now. Yes, it costs 3. It's 1 more expensive. There you go. The same stat, the same effect.
Yes, it's the
different
same
cost.
throw. Costs 3.
He still has Endless Rage, which gives him 2 extra power. He has immunity to Hex, Poison, and Stun. He has 2 new passives that kind of work together, and so I'll try to paraphrase them. One's called Immortality, the other is called the Green Door. This is how it works. During the cleanup phase, if he has been dazed, he has an Immortality token that he's gone. You want him to have both a dazed and Immortality token. If you daze him without an Immortality token, then he immediately takes all the power on his card. It's all gone, and then he heals that much damage and removes the daze token, and then gains that Immortality token. So basically, you're trying to get him to keep that Immortality token and then kill all the health off that he just gained for losing all of his power. The Green Door basically says if he ever gets all the way back up to full 15 health, he gets to remove the Immortality token, and now you have to kill him twice again, functionally.
Does the Green Door help him get back to 15 health?
The first sentence.
If this character has... Oh, at the end of each turn, he can heal himself. This is not regeneration, but it's similar. So if he has the Immortality token, and you just leave him there in 5 turns, I suppose, he will remove 1 damage from himself and be back up to 15.
So the effect is, at the end of each turn, if he has the Immortality token, he heals 1.
Yes.
Okay. So I guess who wants to go first? Doesn't matter.
First off, did I do a good job? Did I paraphrase well?
We'll
I'm-
talk about it later.
I'm working on it.
You did a good job with the time.
Thank
We
you.
kept the time down. That was good.
Good.
So obvious things. He's very difficult to kill. It's an interesting new mechanic that he comes back to life after being dazed. The real crucial part in there, if you haven't experienced it yet, is when he is dazed in the cleanup phase, he's going to heal equal to the power on him. So the amount of power he has when he gets there is very important. He's going to heal for that amount and then start over. And so if he has 10, he's going to heal 10, and then he's going to have the token. And if he gets back to 15, that's going to be a problem because you basically did all that for nothing. He heals one at the end of each turn, and patch-up's obviously good with that combo.
Can you heal one if you pass?
Yes.
Concur.
You concur because it is correct or because you also agree?
Both.
Is there an actual question there? It's definitely a turn.
I know.
Okay. I'm waiting for someone to start screaming, so I'm just going to keep kind of pandering until that happens.
I want Jeremy to go first, then I'll go after him.
Okay.
Jeremy, tell me why this is just okay and stupid.
Honestly, the reason I don't like it is I think anyone who is fairly new to this game and maybe has a friend who's new to this game, and if they both pick up, say, core sets and a handful of models they like, this model will seem completely indestructible, broken, and bullshit. Because it's very complicated and difficult to fucking heal it. And to actually get rid of it. Because it does all the things that are really fun, which is you get a bunch of power, it stays around for a long time, it gets to punch things in the head, comes with its own movement, etc. Kind of like the regular Hulk. But with this quote-unquote regeneration thing it does, and it doesn't flip and have the same statuses and whatever as anybody else, as a novice player, not even a new player, I'm talking a few months in and might not understand every mechanic of everything. This card takes some reading and understanding of what you need to do. And there is some anti stuff out there, but it's not easy mode. Like, and
Yeah.
I think, like, to me, one of the best ones is Ghost Rider. Just Ghost Rider is just like, you
Pin
just
and
gut
stare.
him with a pin and
Finish him off.
stare. Yeah. You might see a couple tactics cards pop out that you haven't seen in forever that just eat power.
Like?
Sucker.
Oh, he said it! He
Yeah.
said the word!
Yeah. So anyway, I have thought quite a bit about it. I'm not going to freak out because I think there is ways, but it's going to take some mechanics to get that thing off the board. And I don't think you can ignore it because it can be made real fast on you. So that's the starter. There you go.
Yeah. Okay. I that's an interesting point. I agree. If you have two fairly new players and like they pick up the game and start playing, one of them starts playing Immortal Hulk, that person's probably going to win all the games. And the other guy will just be upset. All right. So my overall opinion of the model, I think his offense went down, not a huge amount, but a little bit. The picking up the throw instead of a push is big, but he lost the extra dice component they used to have.
Mm-hmm.
His spender is now more expensive, but I don't know.
And
I
it
guess the
doesn't
question-
stagger. It doesn't stagger anymore.
Right, it doesn't stagger. I was getting there. It does automatically throw versus having to hit the wild, but he's rolling so many dice before that it was very rare to not hit the wild. I know that it happened, so it's worth noting. His throw costs one more. So I think there's pretty much a noticeable across the board. His offense came down like 5%, maybe 10%. And his power costs went up. He gained immune to Hex, and despite losing 5 health, he became harder to kill. I think he's probably better than other Hulk, but I think it's comparable.
I kind of feel like he lives in the 30 health realm instead of 20, and he doesn't do what the other Hulk did. They're similar, but
So Jeremy, without having played into it yet, if you were facing this Hulk, would you attempt to kill him or ignore him in your first game against him?
it just depends what list you're using. I would not ignore him, certainly. I would probably try and convince them to spend a shitload of power after I've done a bunch of damage to it already. But you have to mechanic it. Like, you have to look at what's about to happen to you and know exactly how to do it. Because if they're sitting on there, I'm going to heal this guy 5 more after he gets up. and then you got to deal with both sides. That's not going to work.
So I think the interesting kind of concept on how to deal with him is, let's say you put like 12 damage into him and then just let them decide what they want to do. Because
Mhm.
if they start spending power and they get down like below 8, then it's like, okay, so if you're going to flip over and you're only going to have like 5 more hit points, maybe, like I could set up a good situation where you're going to have less power than you should have, then it puts you in a weird spot. So like Gamma Burst feels like something that's not going to happen very often unless you just get on like a big attack chain. The throw costing 3 and the leap costing, like you're spending 6 a turn on his superpowers. Like it's hard to get that back sometimes.
That was actually something I was going to say, which is with Gamma Leap, one of the ways to make Hulk a lot worse is just make him spend on his Gamma Leap every turn. I think this Hulk is not, I mean, just all Hulks are difficult to control, but I think this one is just as hard to control. And when you spend his power, unlike other Hulk, you're totally happy with him going down to 0 every turn. Because he's, with the extra dice or with taking damage, he's going to have power to do it again later. With this guy, you're like, oh man, I really want him to sit on a stack most of the time. I don't want him to be spending down to 0 every turn. It might be difficult for me to use immortality. So I think he'll be. I wonder if the way people play him will make him a little bit less less effective and mobile offensively, or maybe people just play him like old Hulk and say, "You got to kill me twice, I don't care."
And look at the status effects that are out there now. Like this didn't used to be like a year ago. Now root is on hand, man. Like people have that. They'll root you, and he is not immune to that. He's not immune to judgment. There's several things that can really put a hamper on him.
Yeah, judgment being probably the most impactful. Root's also very annoying. I think that he's going to be very strong in any list that can effectively guarantee priority. If you're playing like Cabal, Malekith, or something along those lines, maybe a Tall Brotherhood list, he's going to feel borderline unkillable. But I don't think he fits into like a fairly wide list. Because if you're losing priority on the turn he undazes, man, that's risking a lot. Because you don't get the opportunity to patch him up first. And you're just taking whatever they got. He doesn't have the ability to reroll his defense dice. Like he's just taking whatever comes in, and that's sometimes really scary. Like he is super vulnerable to that Helios if you cannot get him back to 15.
Also, heck, he's super vulnerable, just like a Winter Soldier with a hammer. Like you might just take a bunch.
Yeah.
Like how often does one character with rapid fire and a hammer just do 10 damage to a character that has no buffs or rerolls defensive tech in any way, which he doesn't. He's just the extra health when he flips over.
Sure, but
Yeah,
I mean, Winter Soldier with a hammer kills a lot of things.
Right. But I'm just saying there are some things that he struggles with more, and that's not this character, right?
yeah.
He doesn't have any like defensive buffs, right? Like he doesn't have any tech. Like he's going to take what you give him. So
He's just raw stats. Yeah.
So, he is not immune to incinerate and he can melt. But yeah, if priority control is going to be important, so you definitely have to know where that thing's going to activate or not first, right? Like before every turn
Right.
starts.
Talk about those, like, just imagine, like, how sad you would be if Shadowlands Daredevil played all according to plan and just fucking murdered him.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
Just like,
absolutely.
Shit.
Or just give Hulk all your fucking dudes to kill, like a bunch of small dudes. Just run up with your 2s and 3s. Here you go. You'll
So
get
the problem is, like, obviously patch-up's only going to happen once, but I don't think you can even try and kill this guy 3 times. So you give down the first time, you don't get priority, he flips over, he immediately plays patch-up and kills somebody, like optimistically kills one person. Then but he goes back to full, so the immortality token goes away. And then when you daze him, he just does the Bob thing again, and you're like, now what? It's like, then he wakes up and kills another person. It's like, okay, well, like, I can't keep doing this every turn. Like, I'm just going to run out of time. And so I think it's really key on, if you have a way to get around the token or get around priority, you can kill him. If you don't have those things, I think you just try and, curve the damage as best you can and just live through it and just kill everyone else.
He is a 7-cost character that is definitely moving people around a lot, but he does not have, in my opinion, nearly the assurity of murder that like Malekith does, and your
Mhm.
opponent's paying 7 for him. So he's better. You better be, if you're the Hulk player, you better be getting a lot out of all those throws, because you may not be killing enough like you can with Malekith.
I think that's accurate. I think he will decimate teams that have rhinos and jugs. Right, as I throw jugs into your team 3 times every one of my activations. Right, because he's gonna double do it in his builder, and he's gonna use his superpower.
Not every time, but yeah, he'll do it a decent amount.
Right, 65% chance to hit without mods on 7
Mhm.
dice. So realistically, you can count on one of the 2 hitting reliably.
Pretty consistently.
Plus
yeah.
a superpower. But yeah, you're going to need to get good damage out of the throws if you're looking to work attrition with them.
Mhm.
But bottom line, I fucking hate this character. Why? Because he's more than 5 threat. I hate all characters greater than 5 threat in this game. The biggest reason I dislike it is because him in particular, I think, asks for a very specific answer. Right
Yeah.
now, if I'm going into Hulk, okay, I can deal with Hulk if I'm tall. I can deal with Hulk if I'm wide. I can choose to ignore Hulk, right? But there are options that I can play into a Hulk-esque character. Substitute Malekith for Hulk. I generally have those exact same answers, right? If I'm going to play wide shield, I'm just going to incinerate you, and I'm going to shoot you a lot. I don't care which model you are. Juggernaut, incinerate, shoot, right? This is how I deal with a tall character in my list. All of a sudden, that same answer does not work for Immortal Hulk. Like, I'm just going to kill you. Okay, we just talked about how Hulk just comes back. Unless you have a specific plan to deny him energy after or when he dazes. So now you're talking about Ghost Rider Penance Stare. You're talking about Judgment with Ronan the Scarlet Witch.
No, you just use your own Immortal Hulk and you keep Gamma bursting him so he doesn't get power.
Yep. Or is it Hulkbuster? Is the same one?
Hulkbuster.
Meteor Punch?
So, yeah. Well, Hulkbuster, I think, again, is just good into him in general because he's probably going to hit him for 1 or 2 damage and push him out of range and just make him Gamma lead back every turn.
Sure.
And so he'll just moderate the damage that's incoming.
My point is, none of these 4 characters, how many of them are in people's quote-unquote competitive list right now? Very few. So now I'm going to have to take this specific tech piece just if you run this one character. I fucking hate that. You should have a list archetype that I have to defend against, not a specific character.
So do you think that this model is undefeatable without tech? Or do you just mean you can't kill it without the tech?
Clearly testing needs to happen, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think being able to penance stare him to death is a great way to take care of him. Does that mean I can't do it without penance stare? I don't know. But I am concerned that, can I get him flipped? Yeah. But if it takes my whole list to do that, he's not the entire list. He's 7 threat,
Right.
which is a decent, but if you're playing 17, you still have 60% of the enemy's army or models doing something to you that is probably not in your benefit.
Yeah.
So the juice may not be worth the squeeze to take him out if you don't have tech to make sure he stays down.
Yeah, I think if you don't have one of the tools, you should just try to kill everyone else. Or win fast enough, right? Because they took a 7-point model. Like,
correct.
The thought might be that the snares are just so aggressive that taking a 7-point model means that they have to kill you. And this model is worse at killing than the other Hulk. I think that's objectively true. He costs 16% more and does probably 5% less damage.
Do you think it's possible that the next group of banned cards / restricted might be on the horizon?
No.
If you get rid of the healing cards, this guy isn't terribly bad.
It's really just patch up.
Patch
which
up.
is really the healing card.
That's what I mean. Yes.
But I understand that you've been waging a war against healing cards for about 10 years. So.
Yes, my war is still commencing. People are still using straws. Turtles are still dying.
Wait, let's also not forget that he will have tactics cards that probably benefit him in his box.
Yeah.
So if I already don't like this character, I can't even imagine how much
Like
I'm going
all
to
those-
dislike him.
Like all those other great Hulk cards like Anger Management.
Well, unfortunately, I think they've learned since those.
Yeah, probably.
I love that Hulkbuster still busts this Hulk specifically. I love that they managed to make 2 different Hulks that Hulkbuster has some sort of advantage against. I love it.
Well, it's just the concept of the Hulk, right? Like the funny part, She-Hulk's definitely the best Hulk versus Hulkbuster.
Right. Well, he wasn't. Well, he's not. He wasn't made for fighting She-Hulk.
Right. Also, what's Tony Stark's weakness? Women.
Twerking.
Also, like having a regular hours job. That's fair.
I mean, like the Spender, like the Hulk one didn't care about the Spender so much about the not getting power one. This one does, right? Like it's a different tech piece that it's important. I think it's cool.
Does She-Hulk
Well,
own this
now
Hulk?
they have very similar attacks, which is funny.
Right.
What'd you say, Jeremy?
Does She-Hulk own this Hulk?
Not without stealing priority again, right?
Yeah.
Like if he gets to go, I think she dies. Not like in one turn, but just like if he gets to activate first on the next turn, he's gonna get patched up, heal to full. I guess the other thought is like I'll just put you not within patch up range, like right, like I can just make sure that doesn't happen. Like if you can Thanos this guy across the table to where he can't like patch him up, that's a problem.
I think Thanos solves a lot of your problems with that matchup anyway.
Oh God, don't say that.
I don't know that that's true because this guy can probably just kill Thanos if he gets to him. So it just becomes the war of who can do the thing the most.
I don't think his offensive output's good. I mean, 7 dice builders, yeah, they can go off. They can also fucking whiff. So if you're counting on him to do damage, I think you're going to be sorely disappointed in a significant number of your games.
Yeah, how many attacks does your current Hulk make in games? 5?
I rarely play Hulk, but maybe something like that. Especially if I'm playing Sleeper Agent Hulk with Hydra, he doesn't attack at all.
Sure, yeah. So I'd say it's about half dozen in most games because he's usually having to move and leap, or he's just. I mean, if you're just playing in the sandbox, whatever. Sure. But in important games, I feel like it's about a half dozen. So this one should be expected to make the same amount of attacks, and he should be using his spender almost never. Because he needs to stay at 10 power as long as he needs. It's the Ultron formula, right? My health plus power must equal this amount.
So, I was just thinking cubes. Is this Hulk like the cube monster? Like he just gains shitloads of power for it, and then if he dies anyway, that like he goes collect them and then just beats up whoever gets them.
Yeah, but he takes free damage for it.
I don't think he cares as long as there's power.
Know. Yeah, I don't know if that's good or bad.
I think
so the problem I see is what are you spending the power on? Because if your health pool is reducing, you're basically just taking free damage because you would normally get the power for the damage anyway. So if you're just saying it's like, all right, well now I have 5 health, because it's like what I was saying earlier. The whole point is like you might be able to just get him low, like get him to like 2 health, and then like, all right, well you can't spend power now because you're gonna end with like 3 power, and then you'll flip over and you only have 5 hit points, and so it's like you're just doing that for them is what I feel like that would happen.
True.
Not to mention, you might just get dazed early in a turn and lose your whole round.
I even think flipping with 5 hit points is not the end of the world. So if I'm playing Hulk and he flips with 5, I'm assuming I have patch up. Obviously, I activate him first. I take some activation with him. I probably... Okay, never mind. But he only has 3 power when he starts on his next...
Yeah, he only has 3 power.
I probably Builder, Walk, Gamma Leap, like to get out of the fray. Patch up, I'm sitting on 5 damage. I will heal another one automatically with Green Door, go to 4 damage on him, and at that point, I'm sufficiently away from the opposing models that you've got to come into me hard and ignore all my other models or scenario, or let me heal to full in 2 character activations.
I think if you're spending 5 power Hulk's activation, and probably most of his activation next turn because you're so far away, I think I just play scenario at that point, depending on the situation.
I concur with that.
Like, if you just remove him from the game, it's like, all right, well, I just don't need to kill him now. Like, he's basically dead. If he's making 2 attacks in 2 rounds, like, I don't care.
It's a tunnel vision thing, right? Like, it's like, I got to get that guy, no matter what.
Yeah.
It's a trap.
Right, and maybe you don't, maybe you just move once. I don't know. Anyway, there's some middle ground where it's enticing yet not beneficial to my opponent to do that.
Yeah.
Bottom line, flipping Hulk with 5 hit points is I don't think Like, well, your Hulk's basically dead. Like, well, I can make it harder
Well,
for you to kill him.
Depending on who has priority, yeah. And then if you're spending the tactics card and the power, and then also hiding from me,
Yeah, fair enough.
yeah, it's a whole art. It's like a whole strategy you're playing is just keep Hulk alive, and it's like if you're just playing the keep Hulk alive strategy, I just need to play well enough to bait you into doing it, and then try my own scenario.
If you finish him off and he has no power, say with
He dies.
Ghost Rider, he just dies,
He's
right?
dead. He's dead.
It's not actually. That's what the answer is going to be. But if you go through all the timing charts, he has already passed the point at which you would put a daze token on for having damage on him. Blah 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 blah. There will be a forum ruling shortly that will probably say he dies.
Well, the effect should be during the cleanup phase. This effect happens. You do all the stuff. He has no power. You remove the daze token, but he still has full damage, so he regains a daze token and then is removed from play at the end of the turn. Oh no, because he would just infinitely be dazed. He would just infinitely be dazed.
I can't think through the chart in my head right now. It made sense when I read about it.
The last thing that happens in the turn, to my knowledge, is dazed people flip. And since he doesn't have a backside, either he's removed from play because he doesn't have a backside, or he would just stay dazed infinitely. Because the same thing would happen next turn. He would remove the daze token, still be legally dazed at the end of the effect, regain the daze token, and you just do that every turn. And so either he's a statue or he's dead. I don't see how it could be any other effect. But yeah, even if there was some weird other thing due to a technicality, they would say he's probably dead.
Yes,
a form
that is how it
Or they would
needs to
lose
be
even-
ruled. Yes.
Yeah, or there would be yet even more ill will for me for the forums.
I think he is the only character now that has an ability that is effective
Oh, no.
while dazed.
Oh no, that's not actually true. Yeah, he's dead. Because in the cleanup phase, he gains the daze token. Cleanup phase, removes daze token, attempts to heal, fails to heal, gains immortality token, and then would regain the daze token because he's still at max damage. He would die in the cleanup phase due to his own effect.
I'll buy that. Okay.
Yeah, he's dead.
That's called the coup de grace.
Yeah, because even if it goes to the next turn, he still has maximum damage, which results in him gaining a daze token in the power phase, and then he dies as like a state-based effect. Because it was like the same thing if you field dress somebody who had Grievous wounded. It's like you don't remove the damage, they're still at maximum damage, they're re-dazed.
So let's talk real quick about Grievous Wounds. A lot
Okay.
of people out there think Grievous Wounds is great into this new Hulk because Green Door lets him heal one every turn. This would obviously stop that. I'm on the camp that Grievous Wounds is a millimeter better than it used to be, which is still very bad.
I would agree with that.
So in a Hulk player relatively perfect scenario, he activates with 5 damage, and can immediately patch it up. In a non-perfect scenario, he activates with 8 health, or 8 damage on him, sorry. Maybe he patches up some, but he has 3 or 4 damage left on him. Hulk gets to go first, mostly. Now you're going to spend an activation trying to do damage into him to prevent him from healing. I don't know. I don't want to go into the mechanics, but I don't think you get a lot of economy using Grievous Wounds into Hulk on the turn he comes back.
Yeah, Grievous Wounds doesn't, in my opinion, do hardly anything unless you can get priority. And if you can get priority, you don't need Grievous Wounds. The times that Grievous Wounds is going to help you versus Immortal Hulk is exceedingly rare when you already have other counters going on. Like you've managed to judge him, you have a Penance Stare, you have a Meteor Punch, something along those lines. You have to have some other way to interact with his mechanic if you have any hopes of Grievous Wounds being relevant. And so for that reason, I don't think it's that important. Not to mention you're putting a card in your list that you don't know that they're playing Immortal Hulk when you pick the fucking card. And if you have Grievous Wounds in your list and they don't take Hulk, you are worthless with that fucking card.
Not worthless, but not worth it. Not worth a TTC.
If it didn't require you to deal damage with an attack, a specific attack, I would almost agree with you. It should just be reactive to you dealing damage, and it would be fine. And I would actually argue that it should be in lists.
It should be prior to damage being dealt.
Yeah, but it should be after
awesome.
dice. It should be after dice.
Well, sure, after dice, but prior to damage being dealt. That way it turns off exceptional healing. It would be a great anti-exceptional healing card.
Exceptional healing doesn't heal people.
Okay,
It reduces damage
shut
for
up.
1.
Shut up. And change the wording to make it to where you can't reduce damage.
Let's get rid of exceptional healing. Get a new card in the game that is affected by. Okay, yeah. Exceptional healing is dumb. It's fine. I think it needs to exist. The problem is they keep printing all these fucking healing factor cards. Anyway, Grievous Wounds would be a good card if it was a response to an attack dealing damage. But as is, it's borderline useless because the only time it ever fucking matters when field dressing was legal. And even then, it still barely ever fucking worked because you had to get a good roll in combination with the timing of everything working out. It was really dumb. The number of times I've seen someone play Grievous Wounds and one-shot the person, it's like, great, good job, buddy. Like, this card is so bad. I think a lot of this guy, it's really just going to come down to, because most attrition lists end up giving away priority at some point. When you hit that, like, equilibrium of I'm now winning because I've killed enough of your models that you can't really stop me anymore. And it's all going to be about, can you line up the turn that Hulk gets dazed with that event happening? And if you can beat Hulk in a straight fight. Without that happening, you're going to need some tools. Anyway, I think we've beaten this to death. Do you guys have any final points before we move on? All right. Aaron, you had some currently playing stuff you want to talk about?
Yeah. I'll keep this to under 2 minutes or less. I had a couple people message me and ask me how I was doing on my quest, and I realized I hadn't really talked about this in the podcast, just in person at a couple events. So I wanted to share with everyone what I was doing with Marvel this year. So my goal in this year of Marvel is to play every affiliation in 10 competitive games and every model at least 5 times on the tabletop. This was partially born out of a desire to last year I collected all of Marvel. And how many times do you have shiny toys that sit around and never get played on the tabletop? So I wanted to ensure that every model that existed as of 1 January 2023 got tabletop time. I didn't know if I was going to be able to pull it off or not, because that's quite a few games, sometimes with models that you might normally not want to take. But that's my goal, and I'm on a schedule, as it were. First of all, how many models are there in the game right now? Anyone know about?
Right now or on January 1?
Well, I'm actually using up to current releases.
Okay. It's like 120-ish, I want to say.
134.
Ooh.
So, I'll do this as a bi-monthly update, like every 2 months, tell people where I'm at. So, how many characters have I put on the tabletop? Unique characters in January and February. Any guesses?
38.
50.
Ooh, it's 57.
Ooh.
Only 32 of those, however, have been on the tabletop 5 times or more.
I was pretty close.
You were.
I forgot that we were counting LVO because that was deep in January.
Yeah. So I'm trying to get 15 every month for the first 4 months and then 10 every month thereafter. So I am on
You're ahead of
schedule.
schedule.
32, I should be at 30. So I'm two ahead. And I have played 5 affiliations. I need to play 2 every month. So I'm 1 affiliation ahead and 2 characters. So I think everyone can do different things in Marvel, whether it's get really good at one faction, which a lot of people will say is a recommended technique, and I don't begrudge that at all. But I get ADHD with my models, so once I've played an affiliation about 10 to 12 times, I'm like, that was cool. I kind of understand what this does. Let's do something else. So I decided to make that an official goal. Not to get super good with something, but just to get to know what all the affiliations do to some extent or another. Anyway, that's where I'm at. My last 9 games, I've played Spider-Foes, Hydra, Guardians, Avengers, Criminals, and Inhumans. So 6 different affiliations in my last 9 games.
I also like to switch up when I'm playing a lot. I had this complex with War Machine that I was like a X type of player. I was like a Khador player or a Troll player or something like that. And so I would try to basically be the best I could be at being that. So I'd try and be like the best Khador player I could be. And it got me into this like kind of negative meta chasing situation where I would like, all right, well, these are the best lists in the game. I need to have a list that can beat these. And by trying to cover all of my bases, I ended up sacrificing a lot of what I was trying to do. So I was trying to cancel out what other people were doing in the meta instead of just be good at what I was. And so that led me to meta chasing and being frustrated with my lists a lot because I couldn't do all the things I needed to do because I'd run into people I couldn't counter them. I couldn't counter everything. I couldn't have a good list and everything. So I would just keep tripping over myself trying to build these weird combinations. And so I think it's good to just keep moving around and keep the list fresh and it will actually help you because you'll understand other people's lists as well as you understand your own. But yeah, that's obviously once you understand your list well enough to move on. Cool. All right, for our main topic today, since we talked so much about assessing new things that are not out yet, we're going to talk about how we have previously assessed things, and we're going to talk about our failures. Specifically, times in the past for MCP that we have evaluated something new and been very wrong. So, for example, I'm going to open up this one with a spicy one. I'm going to talk about a card that when it was first spoiled and came out, I thought it was going to be way worse than it actually was. So I want to let you guys know what you think about my decision.
I mean, you thought this is one that was... You thought it was bad.
I thought it was bad.
Okay.
I thought this card was bad. Hired Muscle.
Wow.
I thought this card was unplayably garbage. Now, to be fair, in my defense, I only ever played narrow missions, and I only played attrition, and I always just tried to kill people. And it was not until I realized that it worked on the Mayor Fisk mission, the secure mission, that those were counted as civilian tokens, that I was like, oh, this card is fucking broken. Because you could basically flip 8 points in one turn by your opponent positioning to score the Mayor Fisk tokens, then having them each move range 2, and then you score them instead. Yeah, this is fucking broken. What else? Anybody else got one?
I got one that I thought, I was like, okay, this is fine, I guess. But then the shenanigans. They were a little bit different before the big crisis reset, but World Domination, the Hydra card.
Oh, yeah.
I just thought it was fine, and then someone was like, you can just auto score. And I was like, oh.
It changes a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it became...
It's not as impacting as some people might think, but yeah, the rate at which it gets played is astounding, even still.
Yeah.
One of the lows in my recent Marvel experience was at LVO in a scramble, and my opponent scored World Dom on a D.
That's a big oof.
That's an achievement unlocked.
Large size oof.
Yeah.
What turn was it?
I don't remember. It was still quasi-competitive. It might have been turn like 3.
Oof.
Yeah, it was. That pretty much sealed it.
It's better than like top of 2. And you're just like,
no,
wait,
it was
what?
not top of 2. It just kind of happened. It's like, and move here, score 2 points, power up my team. Thanks. Yeah.
Interesting. All right, Aaron, what's your card? What card did you underestimate?
I underestimated. So I'm gonna leave it up to the listeners to tell me when I'm wrong because my memory's shitty. But my biggest underestimation is Malekith.
I remember that one.
I thought Malekith was fine as a 7th threat. Good, but justified by his threat cost. I think the month and a half after that kind of proved, no, he's busted as fuck. You should be ashamed for playing him. And I was, because if you remember, I was super stoked to play this model that was looking super awesome.
Yeah.
And I played him for like a week and a half, and he was broken as shit, and I had to put him away because I had self-respect.
Nice. Yeah, I remember we were talking, and you're like, man, I'm so disappointed that I got Malekith and you got Red Skull as a leader. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I think Red Skull's good, but I don't know if he's that good. All right, Jeremy, what's your underrated card?
I mean, underrated. I'm gonna say it was Cruel Tutelage, to be honest, until Aaron showed me the ways on Killmonger and threw like 472 dice at me at one time. Yeah, that was definitely... I thought it was garbage. I couldn't imagine a reason to ever use that card, and then my head came off.
Well, I'll give you that it is not exactly terrible, but like I think it's far from a world beater. Like it's barely included in a lot of lists.
Sure. That's the one I went the other direction on most of my picks. My picks were like,
right. I
thought the world was going to end when these were released.
Okay. All right. Well, that's our underrated segment. Now we'll move into the overrateds. I'm going to go last on this one because I have several that I can choose from. And so actually, no, I'm going first. Fuck you guys. You guys are going to have to come up with new ones. Moon Knight. I thought Moon Knight was going to break the fucking game. I was like, there's no way a 3-pointer can have this many words on their card. It would be impossible. And then, stuff happens. All right, Parker, what do you got? What did you overrate?
I thought Scientific Method was going to be like busted as shit, and it is. I think it's actually might be terrible. I thought it was going to be. I thought I was going to just run ram shot over people with Scientific Method. I was so excited. I don't know.
And then you're like, wait, defense dice are terrible.
Yeah, I don't know what I don't know what I was thinking. I put on Magic Rose glasses for it, and I was like, this is the only card I need, and it was just bad.
I do think that Scientific Method is actually pretty good, but yeah, I don't see anyone playing it.
Yeah.
To be fair, not a lot of people play Hydra, but yeah, I've seen. We went up to Des Moines, Aaron, and Eggs was playing it, or playing Hydra, and he was playing Zola every time, and he did not play that card.
Yeah, I think it's bad.
I think if you're playing Zola already, you should include that card and X-23. But
X-23 is bad though.
Okay, you're right.
And now we're circling back to the okay. All right, Aaron, what's your card? Let's go.
I overestimated Heimdall. I think when Heimdall was spoiled, his kit, especially in Steve Vengers, was so diverse and had so many different things you could do, whether it was just rerolls for days on defense, or walking him forward and then double rerolling on the single peta flips, back when single extracts were a thing. Right? So you double your chances to walk away with the core, or whatever the case may be. I think there are so many different play patterns that I was potentially interested in. I thought he would see a lot of play for all of those patterns, and I really have not seen him at all after he came out. So
in the meta of single extracts and pay to flips everywhere to avoid Kingpin, that he was kind of terrifying.
But how many times have you ever seen Heimdall on the table?
Every time I've seen Heimdall on the table, probably a half dozen. But I think it's mostly because people avoid him because of like the negative attitude around him. If it wasn't like when models come out, there's a fine line of people are super excited about them, and then like people refuse to play them because people think they're broken. And it's like Hulk is a good example of this. When Immortal Hulk comes out, I think like the four of us are gonna be the only people playing him.
Sure, I'm talking more like even competitive meta. Like there was no one at LBO running Heimdall. I even think maybe he was a 0. I'd have to go back and check stats.
I think
those are
there's only,
people
like 1 or 2. Yeah.
that don't give a shit about what might be perceived as broken.
But
Right?
Avengers in general had a super low turnout because X-Men were
They were
the considered
third
the best.
highest. X-Men
Compared
Brotherhood
to
Avengers.
what they had been, it was like a huge drop off.
I'm just saying, I thought he would be both in Avengers and in Asgard and splashed with all of his kit, and that just I thought he would become a meta staple, and that did not come true.
Yeah, I thought so too. Jeremy, you're up.
So I thought when they announced this character and a card, there's a combo here, that there would then suddenly be only 9 spots in everyone's roster and 9 spots for tactics cards, because I thought the game is going to just break down to that. Lockjaw and last minute save.
Hey, I had
thought
that on
those
my
were
list too.
They're the
Yeah.
most broken motherfucking things. I was like, I don't understand how a game can even do this. That guy gets unlimited power, unlimited moves. Like, that's so dumb.
So actually, I was going to put him on my list with the exception that he's been getting a lot of play lately. Now that the missions have changed.
Yeah.
And you're rewarded for going a little bit wider. I think he's actually coming back.
Yeah,
He definitely got
is.
play for a while. Like, he was everywhere for a while. And then he disappeared. Because people realized that you couldn't play last minute save on days.
Yeah. Yep. But I mean, even if we were to call him good, he was S tier in my mind. Like, I thought he was
Yeah.
up there with like the top 2 or 3 models.
He still annoys me. Like, the
Yeah.
range... I've lost games to Lockjaw, and it's just solely because he has a range 3, place 3. If it was... how about this? If it was a range 2, not range 3, but he still place 3, I think he would be fine. I think it's because he can target people at range 3 is the problem for me.
It's pretty bizarre. He's one of the only.
There's like no counterplay. He just fixes all control, and he has a buff. It's very annoying.
Anti-Thanos tech. There you go. Done.
Yeah, and it's like Shuri. Shuri will always piss me off. She's fucking broken. The model shouldn't exist. It's like that effect is so much more powerful than people claim it is.
Yeah.
I have an honorable mention. I'm surprised nobody mentioned Mysterio. We were quite up in arms about Mysterio before he came out. We're like, you can't kill him. He's invincible. How are you supposed to kill him? Like, it's like you move towards him, he moves away, and he kills you. It's like it's just free. Like, and then we didn't realize that he was going to be super power hungry.
Yep.
And also, he has the shortest legs of any person ever.
It's
And
the
he also
mists.
has one hand.
He's
Mhm.
walking in the mists. Just
Some
chill.
Mysterios will only have one hand, though. He'll
Mhm.
never get played in my list ever again.
That's fair. For people that don't know, Jeremy breaks all of his models because he likes to get into traffic accidents and then lose the pieces.
No, I didn't want to get in a traffic accident. That's why they went flying.
All right. Moving on. Parker, do we have a comic corner today?
Yeah. If you want one, you shall have one. So my comic corner today is actually about something I've just recently read that I thought was super good, and it's about a little 3-point character we have in the game called Magic. A lot of people who like comic characters know about Magic, but I feel like this particular story from the newest run of New Mutants, it was just published in the last within the last 2 years, was just super strong. It was actually written by Vita. I'm going to mess up her name. Vita Ayala is her name. I have not read very much stuff of hers, admittedly, but I thought she did a fantastic job. It is actually a New Mutants title. I think I mentioned that. But after issue 25 to like 29, it focuses on Magic. She goes on this quest to basically give up being the Queen of Limbo. And you might like, why would she want to give that up? It's kind of part of her core identity. Well, in the post-Krakoan age, she's a captain on Krakoa. She's a leader of the New Mutants team, and she has all of these responsibilities as a Krakoan citizen. She feels like she's being pulled in too many directions. She's also becoming a big part of the magic community on Earth, and so she's like, I need to give this away to somebody else. And so she actually goes to Madeline Pryor, which, if you don't know, she is the evil clone of Jean Grey, who gets resurrected during the Krakoan protocols, and she is also just kind of this very evil bitch, and they don't know what to do with her. And so Magic basically says, do you want Limbo? If you take Limbo, out of in good faith, just don't bother us anymore and have Limbo. And so Madeline goes, okay. But of course, taking Limbo is easier said than done. And when they get there, hijinks ensue. But one of my favorite parts about this story is a lot like a lot of Magic's stories, they time hop. Limbo is a place where magic is very fluid. And so literally going from one room to another is not just a movement in space, it's also movement in time, perhaps. And so you get to meet a Magic in different stages of her life as she is trying to manage the transfer of power. And you get to hear this awesome story about how she was raised in Limbo and how she dealt with the trauma of being raised there, because it's usually in the past it's always been written as she's just one bad bitch and you don't mess with her because she's been tainted or she's been burnt or something. But this story is really about how Magic kept control and how she used the concept of really like not positivity, because she's not a positive person, but it was more like she hoped for revenge, if that's the best way to put it. Like she always had this like kernel, this fire of rebellion and interest that she wasn't going to be undone by this horrible situation, and part of her core is that she was going to get out and she wasn't going to let this beat her. And so it's about that story of determination in her past plays out also in the present, and of course also in the future, because the time is very fluid in Limbo. And it's also a reconciliation of two characters that have been evil and good and mystic and mutant with her and Madeline Pryor. Of course, the other New Mutants are a part of it as well. That's a great cast of characters. So if you're ever like, I want to see a couple issues that feature Magic and just let me know all about her in a really profound new way, try the New Mutants run. Issues 25 to like 29, somewhere there is when the saga ends, and you will really like it. If you like that, you can read all the New Mutants, but that part right there is fantastic.
All right, thanks. And that's going to wrap it up for us today. I hope you enjoyed us reading the news for 16 hours. It was fun. We liked it. This has been Brandon, or Mutilus on our t-shirts.
This has been Parker, or One Who Parks on our t-shirts.
This is just Jeremy on our t-shirts.
And this is Aaron, or Treffenwood, everywhere.
Everywhere. And you've just listened to The Infamous Hulk.
Fuck Hulk.
So what are we going to call this thing?
I got it. Okay. Incredible, new, fantastic, astonishing, mighty, original, uncanny, sensational podcast.
I'm just going to put down infamous.
Aaron decides to turn his camera on halfway through the fucking thing. Ruined everything. All the timing's off.
That's what I do.
Mm-hmm. All right, we did it. We made it to Wednesday.
Well, shit, it's almost Thursday at this point. I mean, let's
I
be
know.
fucking honest.
It basically is. I don't know. I'm kind of excited. Things are like everything's getting busy again, but like that's kind of fun.
I'm excited because Mandalorian is back.
That's all it takes.
I mean, seriously, it's small things, and they make me happy. And my boys were like, "Can we watch it?" And I was like, "Yes, let's watch it." So we watched it, and it felt good. Simple things.
Nice. Aaron,
Brandon.
I started watching Persons of Interest.
Ooh.
That show is trash.
Says the guy who watches Supernatural.
I watched Supernatural despite it being bad, and I knew that when I did it. No, actually, it's been fine. The pilot was a little rough, but like the important things weren't rough. It's just like typical like low budget television stuff bad. There's like whoever is in charge of like, you know, scripting the action scenes doesn't understand how guns work and stuff like that, but like you just gotta suffer through that sometimes.
It doesn't get good until season 3. It's a
Right, I
fine
remember you
show.
saying that.
It's not a waste of time. Seasons 1 and
It's
2.
Typical
Seasons-
cop drama that's
Yeah.
acceptable.
Yes.
And then yeah, you said it picks up.
Halfway through season 3, it turns into can't stop watching it.
Cool. That's cool. I don't like the lead. He's weird. I don't know what I don't like about him, but
Oh.
he's very forgettable and just seems like, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe he gets better. I know some people get better with their roles over time.
He's pretty standard in his role.
Yeah. I like the other guy in the show, the other main character.
Oh,
I like him.
like I said, the best characters come into the show later.
Yeah.
Like some of the villains and whatnot.
So we got a compliment this week. Shout out to our local Tyler. Parker knows Tyler. He said that I particularly had a very good take on what I recommended to watch, and then said that he didn't remember what it was or if it was a movie or a TV show. He said that guy's got good taste, and then just completely blacked out the rest of it. I was like, thanks, I
Wow.
guess.
Wow.
So basically, I'm a god when it comes to media.
That's one
Huh.
interpretation.
Yeah. I'm going to assume it was the Battlestar Galactica take.
Maybe.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
We've only got 3 seasons left. Then I can start watching it.
3 seasons of what?
The Defenders series.
Netflix shows?
Yep.
Okay, that's fair. What is it? There's the Blacklist. I need to finish the Blacklist now that there's apparently 2 more seasons than I thought there were.
It's on my family to watch list.
Yeah, it's okay.
Well, and you've done certain things as a family, it becomes tradition.
Yeah,
Right,
no, for
so-
sure. You should obviously keep doing your family movie night or whatever.
Yeah, I could care less how good it is, to some extent. Like, it's going to get watched.
I will tell you this: it is going to be content. You can watch it.
Yes.
There's a lot of it.
So my
They're doing season 11, I think, right now, is about to come out.
My wife and son bond a lot without my daughter because she's super busy in the evenings. They decided to start watching Survivor is their thing. Yeah, I know. There's a reason I'm not watching it with them. Okay.
Oh, okay. So you broke the tradition for Survivor. Good call.
Like, I am not part of this. I will join them for Walking Dead. So we have the three of us watch Walking Dead. But it's just the two of them that watch Survivor. There's all of us. It's Blacklist or Disney Plus stuff. But anyway, they started about a year ago, maybe a year and a half, and they went back to season 1.
Oh my.
And I would just like catch it as I would walk by. It is interesting to see how television has changed,
Yeah.
right? But they are now almost done with season 39. That is
Whoa.
40 fucking seasons of 16 to 22 episodes apiece of an hour
Of just
long.
quick, just, oh my God, reality shows are like the worst for content too, because they make 20 minutes feel like 6 hours.
Now, in all of their defenses, no one in my family has ever watched any other reality type show. Like, we are not a Bachelorette, Real Housewives of X type family. Like, this is it.
So there's actually some reality shows I would watch, and it's not about the content. Now, Survivor is interesting. It's basically a shitty reality show game show. It's whatever. I'm not actually super against Survivor if they didn't do this like hype build up supercuts where it's just like, this is about to happen, build up tension, build up tension, build up tension with repeated cuts from different angles. They're just the same 3 seconds over and over again, and then go to commercial and then come back. It's like, this is what we were doing before commercial, and they just play it all again. I'm just like, I want to fucking kill myself. So I can't do it.
Well, now that it's on Paramount Plus, there's no commercials, so
Right, you don't watch commercial, which means you watch the before commercial and after commercial cut, where it's just like back-to-back repeated shots, and it's like, oh my God. Just show the content, and it'd be good, because they drag it out to try and get extra drama. It's like, oh my God. I hate it so much.
Dude, I love trash TV, and I can't stand Survivor.
Yeah.
like my trash TV is like Iron Chef. I could watch that shit for days.
Oh, it's so
Like-
good. That's good too. I love all that.
or
garbage.
stuff like that. Like, show me people
Yeah.
making shit. I forget what it was called, like the design one on Bravo with Heidi Klum.
I watched all of those. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Project Runway?
Yeah, Project Runway. There you go.
Yeah.
I can watch the shit out of like just memorize. It's on for 5 seconds and you're hooked for 18 hours. Like, where the fuck did my weekend go?
Nope.
That's right, Tyler.
Uh,
I'm expecting another kudos next week.
Exactly.
That's Tyler, if you give him kudos for watching Project Runway, I will push you under a car. I liked Bar Rescue, which is basically just, was it Kitchen Rescue, but with bars. But that was interesting. But again, I had to stop watching because I just got so annoyed by the let's drag this 30-second scene out for 10 minutes. It's like, just show the stuff. If it's a 10-minute episode, I will be happier than if you make a 10-minute episode a 30-minute episode. Anyway, anybody else watch anything good?
I'm gonna recommend something that's not a show. It's Conan's podcast. Have you ever listened to that? I know you listen to a lot of podcasts, Aaron. or at least-
O'Brien?
Huh?
O'Brien?
Yeah, Conan O'Brien's podcast is called Conan Needs a Friend, and he does just these little podcasts with whichever people, famous people, just like his show, except it's more casual.
Mhm,
And he did another one recently with Timothy Oliphant.
mhm.
It is the funniest goddamn thing. Like, that guy is hilarious. Timothy Oliphant is
Timothy
so
Oliphant's really funny.
fucking funny. And he's now done 2 episodes with him, but he's also, Conan's done, other episodes with other funny people, and most of them are really, really good. But if you have room for podcasts in your life, driving around, you're looking for one, check out that. Conan
Is
Needs a
this
Friend.
the one where he talks about his holiday card? Tim does.
I don't know about that.
He talks about the holiday card that they sent out.
Maybe. I'm not sure. It
Well,
wasn't.
I've seen clips of a conversation with Timothy Oliphant and Conan, and they're in they're just sitting down talking. There's no.
Oh,
audio,
I'm sure
but
it was. That was probably
I
his
just
first one.
assumed that was just a COVID recording of his show. I didn't think it was a podcast.
No, yeah,
So he
he does-
talks about.
that's what it is.
I can't remember the other actor's name, but there's an actor that looks a lot like him, and he keeps getting mistaken for him, and so he ran into him at like a Mets game, And so he had him take a picture with his family, and Tim is taking the picture.
Yeah.
And so he takes a picture, and there's this guy standing there where Tim should be standing. And then they send that out as their holiday card because no one can tell them apart. And his brother was talking about how he was in his kitchen with his mom. And his mom's like, I love that picture of Tim. And he's like, that's not Tim. And she's like, what are you talking about? It's like, that's a different actor named like Dave something. And he's like, she's like, I thought he looked taller. It's like, what the fuck?
Oh my God. No, like that very well could be like, 'cause he's had him on twice and they're good friends in real life too, but just their chemistry and Oliphant always has like a couple shots in him. You can tell. And he is one of the most witty, just funny actors that I've heard. Like he's just so quick and funny.
Yeah, he sounds like a guy that you'd like to sit down and have
Oh
a beer
man,
with.
absolutely. That and he was on Deadwood, man. That show kicked ass.
I never saw Deadwood. I've heard it's good though.
Very, very.
Maybe I should watch
very
Deadwood.
good. Very, very, very good.
Here, let's see. How can I watch Deadwood?
That is an HBO.
It says it's a Western.
Mm-hmm. Calamity Jane, Wild Bill
This is
Hickok.
not. Yeah, it's on Hulu.
Probably got to buy it extra.
No, it's just on Hulu.
Is it?
Yes, because it's from 2004.
Yeah.
But I don't have Hulu anymore because I switched cell phone carriers, so I lost Hulu.
Yeah, I turned Hulu off. I've got Peacock, so that's kind of my thing right now.
That I used to get Hulu for free, and so the Disney Plus Super Bundle didn't make any sense. And so now that I don't give Hulu for free, I'm just going to get the Super Bundle.
Yeah, I've thought about that. It's only a couple dollars more or something.
Yeah, that's how they get you.
But yeah, that's a really great show. In fact, it ends with a movie because they were like, we need to wrap this up, and there's a movie, so don't forget that. You got to find that at the end.
Is there like a 20-year later reunion show like Dexter though?
No, it's a 15-year later movie.
Oh, it actually takes place later.
Yeah, like because they end it and you're like, what the fuck?
It
And
got
then
canceled or
It
something.
did. It got canceled. It was too expensive.
That makes sense. Your favorite show got canceled because it was bad.
No. Carnival also got canceled because it was too expensive, and they left everyone on a fucking cliffhanger. By the way, don't watch Carnival because they're not going to fucking finish it, and it's not worth it. They don't fucking finish it.
I had zero intent in watching Carnival.
It's amazing. If they would have
doubt
fucking finished it.
What is that? This show, it reminded me of another show. I can't remember what it was. That like my cousin used to watch, and I was just like, but like, I don't know. Not like Sex in the City, but like some like housewife type show. Maybe it was True Blood.
That is very, yes. True Blood was a thing.
Yeah, it was just like, but everyone was going fucking apeshit for it.
Yes, that's True
And it was
Blood.
just like, chill out. Like, it's just
Sookie.
a TV show, and it's okay. Like, it's a solidly okay show, I guess. And they're like losing their minds. Kind of like Game of Thrones.
Whoa, hold on. You're cutting a little deeper.
That
I thought
was
we were
That
playing.
was an intentional shot. Yeah,
I
that
thought
was
we
an
were playing,
intentional shot.
and all of a sudden we're going live on our weapons. I get it. Okay.
Parker, did you ever finish, or did you ever start the Dexter reboot?
No.
I think you would like it.
Right now, I just started My Hero, and I am actually.
Oh yeah.
I started My Hero thinking, oh, this is pretty good, and I got about 3 episodes in. And I'm not going to stop watching this until I'm done with it. I am hooked hard on it. Actually, I really.
It's
enjoy it.
almost like someone told you you'd really like it, and that if you would just give it a chance.
Oh, I was never wondering if I was going to like it. I've seen too much of the show, just like the internet tells me that of course I'd like it, and so I keep getting it all the time, whether I like it or not. I love the animation style; it's awesome. But there's one problem with the show, and I'm having a really hard time reconciling it. He better be a better character soon, because I can't handle him. It's so mad; it makes me mad.
Oh, like the crying.
No, Midoriya is actually fine. It's Bakugo.
Okay.
I hate that character so much as a person that I literally it's like
You mean his high school bully?
yeah like he's just
Yeah.
he's just an amazing asshole. Like he has such terrible self-esteem that he can't handle anyone being successful in a 20-foot radius of him, and that
It's like 2 miles.
yeah, I can't handle that person in my life. I have
Mhm.
students like that, and I I cannot. I deal with it all day in a loving way, and I care about them because it's important that they understand that I want them to be there. And so for like entertainment, I don't want more of that. I don't want more of that in my
I
life.
feel like we stumble upon another accidental Parker Rogan Gambit like storyline here that I don't want to peel at.
Yeah. So anyway, I am confident because it's already happening that I think Bakugo is going to change. I think they put him on an arc. They've invested too much in him to just let him be always the asshole, like as much as he can be an asshole. So
Mhm.
I hope that I'm willing to continue watching because I like enough of the rest of the show. All of the adult heroes are awesome. Like I love all the adult heroes. And
Yeah.
that's my favorite part of all animes that focus on children is actually the adults around the children. I always think they're fascinating. So I am excited to watch the show.
So I'm in the middle of I'm somewhere around halfway to the end of season 6, and I always thought Eraserhead was kind of like an okay to decent character, and my perspective of him has gone up like 30 levels after watching season 6.
Cool.
So I'm like very excited.
Yeah, he already has got like a really. He's right now. He's
like
shallow.
he's like the ninja of the show, so he's supposed to be like cool and edgy, but like
Right.
like quiet. And it's like they usually try and make those characters really appealing, but I wasn't ever like super into it.
Yeah.
Cool.
I noticed on Sunday I was having football withdrawals. I was at
Yeah.
work and I was like, I didn't have anything to look at like that I'd gambled on, and also like there was nothing to celebrate. I just wanted to go home.
Supposedly the next day or so, the final episode of the franchise is coming out.
I have not watched that.
You should just watch the whole. Anyone who's a Kansas City Chiefs fan should watch the Kansas City Chiefs official all access show called The Franchise. It is very well done. It gives you like a one-on-one meeting with the players in like a lot of different settings. Each week they usually pick one player to follow around, and you kind of get like a day in the life of this player, and then like their motivations and like stuff going on in their lives and things, which is cool. But also that they do a really cool like, I don't know, dramatization of the game that week, which is pretty fun. Or like OTAs, whatever's going on, so you see like the inside, like what they're trying to do, and like behind the scenes, like really cool. Like you get to meet the coaches and stuff, and it's really entertaining for something that sounds extremely boring. Because I understand I like football more than most people, so like I'm very into like the little minutia stuff, but like this is actually entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like a TV show. So I highly recommend watching it. The last episode was amazing, the one where we played the Bengals, and we've been waiting for the Super Bowl episode, but it hasn't come out yet.
Yeah, I'm sure that is great. I like the Hard Knocks on HBO. Those are pretty good
Right.
too.
If you like that, you'll like the franchise. But yeah, I also been feeling a little bit of the football withdrawals. I mean, at first I was happy because I have so much other shit going on that finally I have an extra day of the week to deal with stuff. But now I'm like I was talking to Nigel, and I was like, "Are you gonna come up on Sunday?" I'm like, I feel like I can't say yes to this because something's supposed to be going on Sunday. And I just sat there forever thinking about it. I was like, I don't know what was supposed to happen on Sunday, or is my mind just still in the don't do things on Sundays, like locked in?
Yep.
All right. Anybody got anything else? Any more ramblings? Okay. All right. We'll go.
I was going to add one more thing. For those that are wondering, my children decided to eat a hamburger. So as of yesterday, they said, I want to try a hamburger. And I said, what would you like on it? They said, plain. I said, okay, here's your hamburger plain. And then they started to eat it. And they said, it's pretty good, but it doesn't taste like anything. So I put a little salt on it. They said, that's pretty good, but it still tastes kind of plain. I said, do you want some ketchup? They said, that sounds good. So I put some ketchup on it. Now, that was yesterday. Today, they wanted for dinner hamburgers. So I had to cook them some more fucking hamburgers. So now, possibly, the only thing they were going to eat is
For the
a
rest of their
hamburger.
lives.
Yeah. So tacos and hamburgers now. If every week I can add something on, dude, I'm going to be so kick-ass. For those that were worried about my children's health, they added in hamburgers.
So I used to, when we went to Taco Bell when I was a kid, I didn't like anything that they had except for regular tacos and nachos and like cinnamon twists. So I would get 4 tacos with no lettuce and a side of cheese. And I would eat the bottom of the taco, like just the meat and the cheese on the bottom, because without lettuce, it doesn't fill up the taco.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just like this line on the bottom. So I just eat the bottom of it, and then I would have this like large chip left over with a little bit of cheese in the middle. I would dip it into the nacho cheese and eat it like nachos. That's why I would eat a Taco Bell.
I don't hate that.
It's not. It was actually. I mean, you're getting all the good stuff, right?
Yeah, there's some tech there, I think.
Yeah. No, it was definitely like people would watch me eat it. And they'd be like, "This kid is a genius." It's like you can get nachos and tacos at the same time. By the way, we got a lot of positive feedback about your kids hating food. A lot of people said their kids also hate food.
Good. I figured that, or family services were going to show up one way or the other.
Yeah, you can get
It's
some
fine.
knocks at the door.
Are you just Jeremy? I'm like, oh shit.
Fuck, they got me. I'm going down.
Shit, not again.
I particularly like the episode where we talk about how you beat children. Like that was the one I was like, we're gonna get shut down. There's no way we're not getting flagged. Like we just promote child abuse straight up.
Yeah. Technically,
Alright.
I got beaten today. I lost. Yeah. So the Chiefs now on Madden 23 versus, let's just say randomly, the Panthers. Will get absolutely slaughtered. I couldn't catch anything. I could not run the ball. The Chiefs were like the shadow of every player on that team. It fucking sucked. All right, that's it. I'm done.
So you lost your kid at Madden again?
No, that's one of the random. Yes, I did. Yes.
Okay. No, it's playing like a pro player online.
Yeah, my son who's 10.
Yep. All right. All right, let's get into it. All right. Well, that's been successfully a 9-hour podcast. That was cool.
Good Lord.
Yeah. Maybe we should not start an hour and 15 minutes late when we do these. I know, right?
All
Well,
right.
by the time Parker got here, we only had to wait like 3 minutes for you, so
It's probably not incorrect.
not exactly, but
Yeah.
so I have an idea. I want you guys to tell me if I'm stupid or not. So we have a punishment for Parker, right? I feel like we should have a punishment for everybody. So like when Parker doesn't show up, we ridicule him endlessly, and we make the excuse that the probationary episodes are why. But it's really just like it's like when they're like, "Why are you being mean to this child?" We're like, "Well, reasons, whatever." So I came up with a punishment for Jeremy,
Oh, don't.
and and I know he's not gonna like it. But this might be a bridge too far. Like this might be too much of a punishment. Like this would be the equivalent of Parker's shaved head bet, right? So Jeremy's punishment is he has to play a battle report game of Sentinels on TTS versus Aaron.
I'll just quit.
Because I don't know, I
I'll
was
quit
there.
the game. I'll quit the podcast.
Aaron was there, and Jeremy was there, and then Nigel and Brandon Morris were there. And I thought Jeremy was legitimately going to just pick up his laptop, break it in half, and never speak to us again. That's how upset Jeremy was. And that was just because he was playing on TTS. Not
That
even
was just
Sentinels weren't
TTS.
even
Yeah,
involved.
no, that was just TTS.
Yeah, it was great.
On TTS. That's
Yeah.
That's wow.
I just tuned into like I just told Aaron to share his screen. I just started watching. I'm like, this is fucking gold. Like if we could just get Jeremy to do this weekly, we could actually make money. It's like watch old man get so frustrated he punches dog. Like that's
Yep.
a YouTube video right there.
Yeah, it was not. That was horrible.
It was so great because like Jeremy is like so tech savvy that he finds every bug possible in every computer program and then just blames the designer. He's like, "Why did I disconnect? Goddamn fucking TTS makers!" Like, it was so great.
That wasn't even. Most of that wasn't even my fault. And like, if
I
you
know,
guys
right?
knew what it looked like where I was playing, it was so fucked up. I couldn't see anything, and what I mean, I can't see anything. I'm like, I couldn't see stats. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck's happening. And then
Oh,
I'm like,
man.
oh
It
my
was
god,
so good.
it's just a wreck.
The best part is we'll record from Aaron's perspective, so that way they can't see all the digital flaws.
Oh, yeah.
that Jeremy's dealing with. So they just think he's crazy and old.
Yep, that's what it would be too. What do you mean? I touch the screen. Why would I touch the screen? It'll be the,
Yeah, exactly.
That's what
It'll
it'll
be
sound
that.
like. Yeah.
It's like, connect to what? I'm
Enter-
right here.
Enter a code.
I can hear you.
I don't have a code.
Put it on the desktop.
Can't you see where I'm pointing? And you're like, Jeremy, your pointer isn't anywhere. He's like, no, I'm pointing at the screen. Can't you see it? Like, God damn it. Like, So yeah, I feel like we should have a punishment like this for everybody.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll come up with them, and
Right.
we'll come up. Yeah. Sure.
We'll keep an eye out.
Never gonna guess what random 3-threat splash I put into my competitive roster, but I want you to.
What
Let me give you-
affiliation are you playing?
It is criminal. It's dual affiliation criminal spider foes,
Okay.
and it is a 3-threat splash. It is neither criminals nor spider foes, and has a basic attack typed mystic.
I
Sin.
feel like I should be able to get this.
Sin. You're
That's a
disqualified.
spender. It's a spender.
That she doesn't have.
No.
a base.
She's also a criminal.
All
Is
right.
she?
So it's typed mystic on the card. It's not like a choose, right?
It is typed mystic on the card.
Okay.
I think I know who it is.
Okay.
Um,
I mean, it's legit. It wasn't a meme.
I'm
there's
99%. I'm 99% sure. That's how sure I am.
Okay.
no, yeah. I imagine he's got it. I can only think of like one or two people that have mystics and they're criminals. So, God damn it, why am I drawing a blank on this? Go for it, Parker.
Parker's gonna have
Is it-
hands.
Is it Super Giant?
It is super giant.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. The point
I
total
thought-
did not let me put her down, but I was super excited. Just fun. Have some fun with her.
Is it just the anti-Weapon X meta that we live in?
And other stuff. Plus, so I very rarely put her on the table, but I think she's got some game into what's popular now as well as what Kingpin wants.
Yeah.
Like, you can't push anyone. Obviously, she has lots of drawbacks, which is why you never
Right.
see her. But I replaced Doc Ock because I was like, I'm never playing that dude. I don't care if I play criminals or spider foes or not.
Have I said on the podcast specifically how much I hate Weapon X as an affiliation?
No.
Really? You hate it?
I fucking hate them.
Because
I don't know if I should say anything beyond that because I think I'm going to insult some people.
Okay, yeah, you probably shouldn't. You probably should.
But I'm going to say it anyway. I'm just saying I probably should.
You probably shouldn't.
I feel like they are the smoothest brain faction in the history of the universe. I hate them so much because it's a bad affiliation. But it's like got a cool aesthetic to it, so people keep playing it.
So you hate that what you lose to it? Is that what it's the?
I mean, I don't usually lose to it. I have lost games to Weapon X, but the entire point of the affiliation is let me dice you, right? Like that's the whole point.
Right.
And because if you just take average dice math, they lose almost every game,
Mhm.
barring like really weird matchups. They're just below average across the board at what they do. However, they have these cool Yahtzee mechanics where if you roll 5 hits and a pierce, you kill somebody. And then it's just like, well, that's going to happen once or twice in the game, or I'm going to lose. Or my opponent will leave me on 1 and I'll get a god activation. And it's like, yeah, but if those two things don't happen, you just get steamrolled.
I'm not sure I agree with that assessment.
They have zero ability to like control the game or
That is
affect it in
true.
any way other than rolling dice. And
I
so
agree.
they're living.
I don't think they're below average at
100%.
rolling dice.
I think because they don't do anything else, I think they do lose fights. Like that's what I'm saying.
Sure.
It's like-
Okay, I can buy that.
Like sure,
I
if
think
you're
they
just
do.
saying their attacks are better, I'm not saying their attacks are worse,
Okay.
right? Their attacks are better than most people's attacks.
Yeah.
But their overall kits are worse than most people's kits. Like the way it interacts on the table is worse. It's like Spider Foes versus Weapon X. I feel like Spider Foes should win 60% of the time because you have more ability to affect the game and actually try and win on scenario than your opponent does. Your opponent's only option is run at you and stab and hope things go well. And they can't like webline somebody in. They can't like, throw people out of the way. It's like, nope, we're just going to stab them. Keep stabbing. Stab, stab, stab. Look at all the decisions I made. I stabbed. And you're
I
like,
don't know.
they
Apex,
just are a flow chart.
Apex is pretty good.
Yeah, he puts out good damage.
Well,
But
and
that's all-
he throws himself and throws others. So
Right.
he's one of the very few.
is the exception to the entire group, yes. Apex is an actual S tier character, and everybody else is just roll dice. And X-23 is the same thing. Like, she's just the most efficient fighting 3-pointer, and so she sees the table all the time because she's ridiculously good on stats. But like, there's no decision making. She never makes a choice. You follow the flow chart, and so I just hate them because I feel like people will get into the faction because they like the aesthetic, and then they will just follow the flow chart forever, and that's all they do. They don't learn anything while playing the affiliation. And so if they enjoy that play style, you just get put in the corner and you never like learn any like actual interesting things about the game. And it's just like, well, if you just like rolling d8s and looking at people with claws, this is the affiliation for you. And I just fucking hate that. It's like Hydra is an attrition-based affiliation that has a lot of moving parts and decision-making. But like, there's like no decision-making in Weapon X.
I want you to show me on my Wolverine doll where he touched you.
No, I don't hate playing against them. I just think they're bad for the game. It's like, the perfect example is the same thing's happening in 40K right now. It's like World Eaters just came out. There's like, and it's probably not to the same level because, 40K across the board, like there's a lot of moving parts. Like it's the whole thing they're generating their brand on right now. There's a lot of overlapping rules. But they're basically just the greatest attrition faction you could ever imagine. They're just way over the top. So if you're playing a like close combat based army versus them, you just automatically lose. You have to do things they don't do to beat them because they don't do anything else. They have guys with axes, they kill you. That's all they do. So if you try and fight them, you will automatically lose. And if you can get around the fact that they're trying to fight you, you win automatically. And so they're just a super binary, boring list. And so like that's the translation. It's like, I don't understand what you're supposed to do. Like you just press the fight button every turn. There's a little bit of the I need to understand like order of activation stuff and like target threat assessment, but it's generally just like this guy has the best activation available. Press the attack button.
There's one thing I'll say about that it is sometimes it's hard to let's say you're at the end of the game and you got a player who hasn't played that much and they're playing Weapon X and you're like, oh, I'm not sure, what I could have done to play better. I don't always know what to tell them because I'm like, you came and attacked me, but
Tyler's getting into the game and he played Weapon X against me. And it's like, what were you supposed to do differently? It's like, nothing. You press the attack button every turn. That's what you do.
Right.
Like, you never once decided to move away from my models, and you never once decided to not attack my models. So you did great. Like, I don't understand. Like, you never made an obvious mistake, but like you didn't have any decisions you got to make.
That's actually funny that you mentioned that because I was playing against I think it was Josh playing Weapon X, and he absolutely won except he kept attacking. Like he was playing Weapon X, and he won. Like he had all the things he needed to do, but instead of just standing on the scenarios and winning, he decided to keep attacking, and he lost because he kept attacking. So in that case, what I'm saying is he just kept pushing the button, right? Because that's what you do. Weapon X button, go kill, and he actually needed to just not touch the button and literally just sit there and do nothing, which would have been a really boring way to end the game, but it would have won. I guess what I'm saying is when your options are only hold down murder or let go of button murder, and that's the only real decision you're making, it was a strange end to the game.
I just really dislike them.
Yeah.
I think they lead people to learn the game incorrectly.
Do you really think that maybe we'll be proved correct, but do you really think there's going to be a lot of people who go, I'm a Weapon X player and that's the only thing I play? Or do you think they would go, you know what, I think I've only been doing the one thing the game has to offer, so let me buy a few more X-Men and I'll play my Weapon X guys with X-Men, and that'll be different.
I think there will be a lot of people that get into the game and go, oh, I really like Wolverine and these Weapon X guys, and they're kind of new, so let me get those. And then they'll try and learn the game with Weapon X, think they understand how the game works, and then go try and play something else and realize they have no idea how the fucking game works.
Yeah, but isn't that learning? Like that's not.
But they didn't learn anything while they were playing Weapon X. Like they just they started doing Weapon X, they picked up some basic stuff, and then they just like stayed in limbo until they decided to pick up a faction where you actually make decisions. And then they won't understand why they're losing.
I think there are lots of factions that their primary win condition is to roll dice and kill you. And I still think there are things you can learn about the game playing that. I do think that would get tiring after a while, but I don't think that would be bad for the player of the game. I don't think.
I think there's a lot of lists that base their whole win strategy around attacking people, but generally they're not like, I press the button. Like there's no decisions, right? What do you do on X-23's activation? It's like, well, she's got 4 power, so I spend 2 and I claw rush. Did I kill them? Yes. I pay 2 for assassin or whatever it's called to do my frenzy attack. Okay, now what? Well, I'm out of power now, so now I have to do my builder. You're like, that's it. Like that's how you play the model. It's like there's no decisions. And so Sabretooth is the exception because Sabretooth has decisions. He can throw people. You have the bad decision of paying for Stop Squealing and Die Run, and then or you can throw himself and other people. But where you throw the other person is relevant. It's like, do I move up and throw you off the point to actually score this? He actually has decisions to be made. It's not just Logan. I attack you. I place in melee range of you. I guess I attack you again because you're still alive. If I have the 3 power, I spend so I can throw you afterwards. Like that's it. It's like it's just like you could write down 2 sentences on how to play the characters and follow those every single time because that's just how they work. They're just zero interaction.
I think maybe your vision of them is definitely a more finely tuned lens than your opponent who's learning how to play the game's vision of them. I think they're looking at that character and they feel like there is lots of possibilities. And there's the one thing you're supposed to do this turn, go do it. And I don't think they know that. I think if you think this is paint by numbers, I think they might need the numbers.
Maybe. And I would never shame somebody for playing them because there's 2 reasons to play them. One, you like the aesthetic, period. So that's enough reason already to play them. The second one is that you like the playstyle of run and stab, which is fine too. Like, if you're a person that just likes that aesthetic or that playstyle, I totally get it. You should play them. I'm not telling you not to. I'm just saying I don't like them as a design standpoint.
Oh, you
like,
just prefer
the aesthetic of the models is cool. Like I don't hate the characters. I hate the design aspect.
Okay.
And so, let's see. I'm trying to think of another way to say this.
No, I think I got it. It's
no, a different point. How about this? I think the core set characters, the original core set characters, each one of them is more like choice interesting than every character in Weapon X except for Sabretooth. Because there's just no decisions. Like even Iron Man is incredibly straightforward. He has basically 2 abilities. And I think he's more interesting than Logan. Now Logan is way better, but like there's no decision, it's not interesting. It's just like, it's like if I just wanted to roll the same attack infinitely, like that's just not fun. It's like he does everything for you because his ability is just all printed on the card as a static effect.
I'll say the only thing that I think about them that is to your point is they all have range 3 as their like thing they do. And that does make life really easy and simple and like point and clicky. But I mean, some people like that type of game. Whatever. Yeah. But there's also the opposite, which I hate the opposite version way more, which is the never attack. That's the best version of that list. That formula is never attack. But whatever. It just different. People do different things.
I found a fun interaction with a lot because their new favorite thing in the world. It's like with the ribbons fiasco where every model had ribbons for like 2 months. And now the new one is everyone has a range 3 attack that they place within one of you. And I fucking hate that interaction because it's the same thing with Weapon X. It's like, man, I really wish I had a charge. Oh, wait, I just have a charge attack that doesn't cost power or an action, whatever. It's like, I just hate that so much. It's like, remember when positioning mattered? Anyway, you use Kraven to corner the beast, those idiots. And so, like, every time they attack, they take a damage, which is really funny. Like, I did it to Rhino. So you get Rhino to flip over. He's already got a bunch of power. And then you corner the beast him. And then he's like, all right, well, I'm going to Stampede. All right, take a damage. He's like, oh. It's like, all right, I attack. It's like, all right, well, you have to take a damage because you place within 1. And then he's like, hits him again, takes another damage. So he takes 3 damage during his activation just for existing. And it was hilarious. He just dies automatically. It was very fun.
All right, it's late. Let's go, man.
Are you tired? I was going to try and go for a full 3 hours. Are you
yeah,
tired?
that'd be sure. Go ahead. I'll be clapping.
Fine. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Later.